Welcome once again. So, we just finished Kyle hiding last week, and, kind of in a visual novel, cozy winter time. We're just past Halloween. So, let's get back into another visual novel. So, I played this one all the way back in 2022. And, back then, I didn't know anything about audio balancing or properly setting up a stream. So now I'm hoping that I'm a little bit better at this. And reading this would be a little more pleasant. So this is made by Spike Chunsoft, who it's not the specific people who made Danganronpa, but they are definitely the publishers of the much beloved Danganronpa games. But this game is very different. So I compare it to a game called Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, which is, for those of you who know what that is, it's probably a weird comparison, but Plumbers Don't Wear Ties was a game for the mega hit console, the Philips CDI. And it was basically a game that was a series of very bizarre slideshows. And it was a game of a certain content nature. But essentially the concept of a story told with a bunch of slideshows is kind of what this game is. A dating sim? It was kind of like a dating sim, but it was also more like, it was more like, just here, select something and then you see some images. But, that was Plumbers. This is actually a story. This is, I would say, like a comedic thriller. And the concept is we're going to be playing between, I think, 5, if I remember right, different viewpoints going through a single day. And everyone kind of ends up connecting their stories together eventually. But we're going to start in Shibuya Station, one of the busiest intersections in Japan. So if we're ready, let's get going. Because, as you said, Philips CDI does what Nintendo don't. Here we go. All right, so select a bookmark. We will, since we already got the, that was our previous playthrough, which logged at 40 hours. Wow, I didn't realize that. We're going to be doing this for a while, I guess. But anyway, guide to gameplay, yes. I am not a first-time player, but it has been a while. It's been a while, and I don't remember as much as I should. This story is a work of fiction. Yeah, name, characters, places, and incidents, either products of the about. It's, yeah, basically everything's made up. The points don't matter. Spike Chunsoft! A video game has been discovered. Dramatic. All right. We interrupt this program for breaking news regarding the Shinjuku hostage situation. A middle-aged man in a ski mask took several employees hostage at an office in Shinjuku before barricading himself inside. Oh my. The intro music, it could be boss music in most other games. Yeah, for real. It really could. Employees believe the suspect to be a man named Kitajima. The suspect has prior dealings with another company in the building and is experiencing money problems. Authorities believe this to be the motivation for... There's a lady hitting the car, and there's a man inside with a bag on his head. Oh no. Oh, the van exploded. That wasn't a very big explosion, but oof. It is Dark Man. Oh no! Was that Liam Neeson? Oh man, he got taken this time. Shibuya's story is yours to tell. Alright, so as you play through the game, the various mechanics will be explained. In 428, you follow the stories of multiple protagonists at once. Your decisions impact their experiences as you read the story. What does the day hold in store? Their fate is in your hands. Hopefully, you can see them all through to the end. Hopefully. To start, you have two characters, Shinya Kano and Achi Endo. Let's begin by checking out Kano's story. So we are, I think, required, yeah. So we are prevented from choosing Achi. We must be Kano. So right now, if you look in the top right corner, it is 10 a.m. So I think this goes from like 10 a.m. to like 1 or 2 in the morning, if I remember right. But anyway, we're going to start with Kano, who's kind of our de facto protagonist dude. Let's see what Kano's up to. Oh, that's right, he's so cool. Just 2 more minutes to go. Oh. Shinya Kano noted the time again on his watch, scowling at the slow creep of the second hand. The time was 9:58 a.m. Furrows of consternation creased his forehead. He wasn't nervous, but he knew better than to expect everything to go smoothly. Keeping a level head was proving rather difficult. There was no room for failure. Lives were on the line here. He eyed his surroundings. Was the perp really going to show up? When? Where would he be coming from? How would he make his approach? The Shibuya Scramble was as packed as ever. A throng of people crossing this way and that, blissfully unaware of the dozens of detectives hidden in its midst. All right, another minute and a half. Kano glanced down at his watch yet again. A mere 30 seconds had passed. Detective Gano had been with the enforcement arm of Shibuya's criminal affairs section for a year now, but he'd never been part of an operation this big before. He eyed the young woman standing beside the statue up ahead. She was small enough to get lost in the crowd, and she carried a nondescript attaché case. Hitomi Osawa, age 19. The attaché case in her hands contained a full 50 million yen in cash. Yesterday, her twin sister Maria had been kidnapped. This was the ransom payment. The culprit had called Hitomi last night at home, referring to her by name and telling her to wait by the statue by Hachiko in Shibuya. It was almost time, but nothing. Kano was staring fixedly at the second hand on his watch when a homeless man sitting on the sidewalk murmured just loud enough for him to hear. "Come on, Kano. Quit looking at your watch so much. What if the kidnapper sees you?" Kano tried to look nonchalant as he lifted his eyes, but the scruffy character continued. "Oh no, Scruffy! Hey, guys! I'll take care of this! Oh. You're too nervous. Just relax already." "You're the one acting suspicious, Sasayama." Kano frowned. "Why would some homeless guy be talking to me?" Yuji Sasayama was the senior officer of the Shibuya Precinct's Criminal Affairs Division, 5 years older than Kano. Okay, so here, we're getting this thrown up here. Some words and phrases in the text appear in blue. These are called tips. Press X to underline a tip and then press A. This will let you read some extra info relating to that word or phrase. There are tips containing general knowledge and ones that are 428 specific. These are marked with a eyeglass, we got a spyglass, and a 428 respectively. So this is like a little internal wiki if you want to get little extra details, which we will be doing. We're going to go all out on this. Let's see. So, the Shibuya Precinct, the official name is Shibuya Central Precinct, responsible for the safety of approximately 200,000 people in 32 neighborhoods, including Uehara, Uguisidanicho, Uragawacho, Ibisu. We're doing this. We're doing this. Ibisu Nishi, Ibisu Minami. Oh, sorry. Minami, Oyamacho, Kamiyamacho, Sakuragao Kacho, Sasazuka, Sarugakucho, Shibuya, Shoto, Jingumai, Shinseicho, Jinan, Sendegaya, Dai Kanyamacho, Doganzaka, Tomigaya, Nanpei-daicho, Nishihara, Hatagaya, Hachiyamacho, Hatsudai, Higashi, Hiro, Honmachi, Maru Yamacho, Moto Yo-Yo Gicho, Yoyogi, and Yoyogi Kamizunocho! Oh! We did it! I'm somebody actually just ripped up my Weeb card right in front of me for that. Oh man, I already feel like I'm being trolled by the Spike Chunsoft people with this one. That's a lot. Okay, so basically to say Shibuya Precinct, it covers a lot of areas, not just Shibuya. Anyway. He always, that is Yuji, went a little overboard with his disguises. He claimed it was all part of the job, but word around the station was that he just liked playing dress-up. Weirdo. Hey pal, spare some change? Sasayama lurched to his feet and shuffled in close to Kano. Hey, knock that off! Fittingly for the part, Sasayama reeked pretty badly. Well, ain't so suspicious now, huh? He clung to Kano with mock camaraderie despite the younger man's attempts to pull away. Come on, Sasayama, cut it out. Sasayama's blithe confidence rattled Kano's nerves. Of course, there was good reason for that confidence. This was Kano and Sasayama's jurisdiction, but they were positioned a good distance from where the handoff was to take place. Let's read about jurisdictions. He's our new Hosonaga. He is! He is the new Hosonaga. Jurisdiction, a particular region over which an organization or a member thereof has control or authority, refers here to the areas under the jurisdiction of various police precincts. The Metropolitan Police Department, at the pinnacle of Tokyo's police hierarchy, has vastly more authority than local precincts, but since many officers wind up needing to work with both, the outright rivalry between the two isn't as notable as TV dramas may make it seem, or weird visual novels. The statue of Hachiko was surrounded. Sometimes two or more tips will appear on a single screen. Ah, what are we going to do about this? By elite investigators from one of HQ's special investigation teams. So, yeah, I know how to do this. You press X repeatedly, basically. you select which one you want. So we're going to do the statue of Hachiko. All right, the statue of Hachiko. This is actually a real thing. The bronze statue of a dog erected in 1935. The dog was famous for loyally waiting for his absent master, well known as a meetup spot outside of Shibuya Station. Other popular meetup spots at the station are the display car for the original Tokyo 5000 series, commonly known as the Green Frog, and the Moyai statue by the west entrance. And look, there's little pictures of them. The statue of Hachiko, the Moyai statue, and the Green Frog. And then let's read about HQ. Here refers to the Metropolitan Police Department, the Tokyo Police Section responsible for managing 101 Dalmatians and precincts within the city, Japan's largest police organization. In addition to policing Tokyo, it has various other duties and authorities for maintaining public order in the capital. Alright, Kano and his partner were just there to provide backup if the kidnapper attempted to flee. Look, just try to relax, we'll be fine. Sasayama gave him a wink. A moment later, the radio squawked in Kano's ear. All right, everyone, it's time! Keep your eyes open! The voice coming in through the earpiece was Koji Kuze, HQ's operations director. Kuze! If you played Yakuza 0, you know what I'm talking about. Operations Director, the individual responsible for directing the investigation in the event of a serious crime. If a task force is set up, the Operations Director is the one who assumes command. TV dramas and other fictional accounts often feature some young prodigy from the MPD as Operations Director, but in reality, the position usually goes to a proven veteran. Alright, until last year, Kuze had been the Shibuya Precinct's head detective and Kano's supervisor. We don't know when the perp is gonna make contact. Don't let your guard down. Kuze's low, gravelly voice. Oh, I wasn't doing a low, gravelly voice. Echoed in Kano's ear. You don't sound too worried, Kuze. Kano winced at Sasayama's words. How could the man be so nonchalant? The appointed time had come and gone. Something should be happening. Whap! Kano smacked himself in the thigh to release a little tension. That's what I do. If I'm tense, I just go, The sound was louder than he'd intended, though his suit hid his muscular physique. It did little to dampen the noise. His mighty thews. He needed to stay focused. He might be called to action at any moment. Are they real? Yes, these are all real actors who they actually spent a couple days around Shibuya taking pictures of. They seriously did. Yeah, these are all real actors. The department handled abduction cases according to a certain standard investigation procedure. Was it an attempt to extort money, or was the motive something personal? The answer to that question determined how they deal with the criminal. And based on the investigation team's initial findings this time around, they probably weren't dealing with a professional kidnapper. Still, in all likelihood, it was someone with quite a long rap sheet. Probably someone who knew the family, but so far they had few leads on who might bear such a grudge. With the situation so unclear, the plan was to apprehend whomever came to make the handoff on sight. If the culprit ran with the money, there would be no guarantee of the hostage's well-being. Still nothing, Sasayama muttered. There he is! He's here! Kuze broke in, his voice spiking into an excited chirp. Excited chirp. Kuze's particular vocal quirk. Whenever he gets overly flustered, excited, or panicked, he slips into a childish register, prone to babbling and pitching his voice. Thank you so much for that information. Subject is a young male in his 20s, wearing a bandana and an orange hoodie. Kuze, normally calm and stoic, was now squawking like an excited child, just like the info tip told us. That only happened when he got particularly worked up. Kano and Sasayama steeled themselves. They could see the subject now. A 20-something male nonchalantly approached Hitomi to talk to her. All right, people, be ready to grab this guy. Kuze was stationed in the mobile command center not far from the intersection, keeping tabs on the situation via video surveillance from the camera team. The young man started speaking enthusiastically to Hitomi. The detectives watched, uncertain. Was this really the kidnapper? You'll encounter selections like these during the story. These choices will change the lives of other people in addition to changing your own fate. Use the arrow keys to make your choice, then press A. The current choice will not impact you or any of the other protagonists. That's got to be him, or the situation still wasn't entirely clear. He needed to get a better look. So, okay, we got, reread. Yeah, that lets us reread in case we want to, like, look at things previous to where we're at now. But the situation still wasn't entirely clear. We're going to choose that. The situation still wasn't entirely clear. He needed to get a better look at things. The newcomer held a bundle of letter-sized paper, which he showed to Hitomi as he went on talking. He tried to hand her one of the papers, but she pointedly ignored him. Undeterred, the man kept trying to foist it off on her. Hitomi refused to respond, becoming as motionless as the statue of Hachiko behind her, until finally the man gave up and walked away. Ha! So this guy wasn't involved, or was he? Guess it wasn't him. Kano felt the tension of the moment linger in his spine. Guy must have been hitting on her, Sasayama muttered. Let's see what hitting on her says. Succeeding at meeting someone on the fly like this takes a special knack. Looks are also important. Sometimes, of course, the person trying to get your attention out of nowhere is just trying to make a sales pitch for a product or a nearby establishment. At first glance, it isn't always easy to tell the difference. I'm really glad. Thank you. Now you know that if somebody hits on you, they might actually be trying to sell something. I mean, she is pretty cute and all. He had a point. Though, of course, something in Sasayama's voice made Kano brace himself. She's got nothing on my Mi-chan. Mi-chan was Sasayama's wife. They'd gotten married just last month. Thank you for the goofy music, game. Let me tell you, Kano, married life is the best. You gotta hurry up and give it a try for yourself. This was Sasayama's favorite topic lately, and Kano was getting more and more fed up with it. This is an amazing picture. Sasayama, come on. Just knock it off already, okay? The phrase had become a common refrain of his since the department partnered them. Fine. Let's talk about your girlfriend, then. Huh? Now? You can't be serious. Sasayama leaned in close again. What's she like? We are not having this conversation, Kano muttered, looking away. Oh, come on. Sasayama set his hand on Kano's chest, still playing the homeless troublemaker. Show me your phone. Let me see your lock screen. Huh? Sasayama pawed for the phone. You gotta pick your girl on your lock screen, yeah? I do not. But he did. It was scary how on the mark Sasayama's instincts were. Hey, cut it out! We're in the middle of investigation! I am investigating, Sasayama chuckled as he plucked the phone from Kano's pocket. His face scrunched up with astonishment as he looked at the lock screen. The heck is this? It's not... Ain't this Masami Nagahama? Wait, who? Masami Nagahama, a national star, tends to play the heroine on national morning soap operas or in national historical dramas. Her songs have been a series of national hits, and she's even slated to host the year-end national singing competition program. Everything about her is national. By the way, this game came out in, I believe, the year 2008. I was near the middle of my college career at that point, so this was a long time ago. Kano realized he had to bite the bullet. No, that's my girlfriend. Her name's Rumi, and she's... Sasayama cut him off. You're telling me this ain't Masami Nagahama, the famous actress? Because this right here is Masami Nagahama. Like I said, you sly old dog! Trying to make like you're dating Masami Nagahama. I'm not. I mean, I guess Rumi does kind of look like her. Sasayama let out a huff. For real? You really think I'm gonna fall for that? There's nothing to fall for, I swear! Sasayama scowled, unconvinced. Alright then, why don't you marry her? Kano stammered, but he had no answer. The truth was, he would have happily married her already, but there were obstacles that needed to be overcome. Okay, playtime's over. Let's focus on the job. Sasayama handed back Kano's phone and turned his gaze back to Hitomi. Kano let out a quick, uneasy sigh, but his shoulders did feel looser. Maybe Sasayama had been trying to relieve a bit of the tension. Maybe he should be grateful. By now, several minutes had passed since the guy with the papers had gone away. He peered at Hitomi. The strain on her face was visible. In addition to the weight of the attaché case itself, the 5,000, 10,000 yen bills it held weighed close to 6 kilos. Her slender arms must have been getting tired. Still, she refused to set the case down. She wasn't taking any chances with her sister's life. The kidnapping case had begun the day before, at around 7 p.m. This is MPD Dispatch. The Shibuya precinct is reporting a missing person, believed to be an abduction. Abduction. In Japanese law, the act of indirectly luring or deceiving someone into the control of a third party is known as kidnapping. Using forcible threats or violence to achieve the same result is known as abduction. Subject is Maria Osawa, a 19-year-old student at Midoriyama Academy, last seen at the LL Diner near campus. A man was allegedly seen forcing her into a car nearby. All officers in the vicinity report to the scene at once. Kano and Sasayama had been working a burglary case in Jingumai's 5th district when they got the call. The two arrived at the LL Diner at 7:15 p.m. At roughly the same time, several other officers showed up to secure the area, blocking off entry to nearby roadways and monitoring the surrounding establishments. Inside the restaurant, Kano and Sasayama were met by the girl who reported the kidnapping. It was the victim's twin sister, Hitomi. "Could you tell us about when Maria was taken, starting from the very beginning?" Kano said, keeping his voice low. My sister and we were supposed to go to a party together today. Hitomi was trembling, her voice hoarse. But I messed up the time. I showed up right at 7, an hour later than I was supposed to. So Maria had gone alone to the party, a mixer for locals and exchange students. Sasayama looks a lot different when he's not homeless. Hitomi, arriving late, had showed up just in time to glance out through the restaurant window and see her sister getting shoved into a car. She described the vehicle as a blue station wagon of Japanese make. That means it's actually made well. Why would something like this happen to her? Hitomi held back her tears, but she was shaking all over. Did you get a look at the kidnapper? Yes, it was a man, middle-aged. There was another eyewitness. Leland Palmer? Oh no! Okay, I remember this from last time. This game has a bunch of just really random Twin Peaks references. For those who haven't seen it, so Twin Peaks was a really famous, mystery horror thriller show from the early 90s. And, so it's also very, very, very popular in Japan. And, so this game, and a lot of Japanese stuff references it. In fact, the game Deadly Premonition is basically a blatant ripoff of Twin Peaks. But yeah, so Leland Palmer is a major character from the show, but he's also here in this game. He identified himself as a lecturer at Hitomi and Maria's school. I saw too. It's like Hitomi says. I heard Hitomi cry out, and so I went to the window to look, and his Japanese was halting as if he hadn't been in the country very long. And I think that maybe the kidnapper was working alone. Leland explained that he'd seen the man shove Maria into the back seat, then clamber into the driver's seat. If he had an accomplice, would they have been driving? Neither Hitomi nor Leland had gotten a look at the suspect's face. Kano was interviewing others who had been on the scene, looking for other potential witnesses, when his phone rang. It was Yoshio Kajiwara, one of the senior detectives. We've set up a task force for the investigation. Get back to the station once you have handled the situation there. Barely half an hour had passed between the time the kidnapping was reported and the time the task force began operation. Let's learn about task force. Roughly 150 people are working on the case in the Shibuya Precinct's conference room. The main force at work is HQ's 1st Special Investigation Unit. Additionally, other detective sections, a riot squad, and investigators from neighboring precincts have been assembled. When Kano and Sasayama got back to the precinct station, Kuze had already arrived from HQ. He informed them that a response team had been formed to investigate the victim's home. Response team. In a case where someone has been abducted for ransom, it is often difficult to resolve the situation without cooperating with the victim's family, but the family can also be a hindrance in making an arrest. To help guide the family's actions, a response team is assembled and stationed at the victim's home, led by an investigator with the proper training. Kano could feel a peculiar tension in the air. Unfamiliar MPD detectives scurried to and fro around the Shibuya offices. He pulled one of them aside to get a quick update. An hour had now passed since the kidnapping. There had been one new development. The perpetrator had made a threatening call to the victim's home. He said the following. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. by Hachiko in Shibuya. Have the sister Hitomi bring 50 million yen. If not, the girl's life is forfeit. Keep an eye on the guy eating the banana. Kajiwara from the precinct was put on the response team, along with detectives from elsewhere who had received special training in abduction cases. Normally, a local precinct detective wouldn't have gone undercover in a victim's home. Kuze, however, had decided that having a knowledgeable local was crucial and had sent Kajiwara along. The detectives disguised themselves as delivery people and movers to make their way inside without arousing suspicion, arriving there at 8:30. The response team had come prepared to run a trace if the kidnapper contacted the family a second time. Trace, the act of pinpointing the source of an incoming phone call. The police are not allowed to do this independently without oversight. They must go through a formalized process that includes securing the cooperation of the phone company. In the past, conducting the trace itself would take time, but nowadays acquiring the location can be practically instantaneous. But there were no further calls. No calls. Kano checked his watch again. 20 minutes had now passed since the time designated for the ransom handoff. The kidnapper had yet to appear. Crap. You think we might have spooked him? He wondered aloud. Hey, stay calm. Sasayama scanned the passing throng. He's just playing with us. Why'd this guy even pick this place? Kano voiced the question he'd been asking himself ever since he'd heard the kidnapper's demands. Sasayama shrugged. Figure he must want to blend in with the crowd, nab the money, and disappear before anyone knows he's there would be my guess. In that case, why not pick Shinjuku or Ginza? The big crowd didn't just benefit the kidnapper after all. It also allowed the police to use the sea of people to conceal their own operation. Right now, there were 50 detectives stationed within a 50-meter radius of where Hitomi stood. One detective per meter. The kidnapper would be taking a major risk if his plan was to nab the ransom money and run. That's what bothered Kano. Any criminal with half a brain would know better than to do a handoff in front of Hachiko. You're overthinking things, pal, Sasayama grumbled. He's even calling him pal. He's scruffy? He's calling him pal? Oh my goodness. No, I'm not. Kano reached into his pocket and pulled out his notepad. This... I forgot about this. This was Kano's dick diary, which he always kept close at hand. Thank you, localizers, for keeping this one. Sasayama rolled his eyes. That thing again? Kano ignored him, flipping through the notepad pages. Aha! Here it is! Dick Dictum, number 89. The more irrelevant something seems, the more relevant it's bound to be. Hey, who doesn't have one of those? Yeah. I mean, really, I got mine in my back pocket right now. It was a favorite saying of Kyuzo Tatano, an assistant inspector from the Shibuya precinct. Tatano was the kind of detective Kano aspired to be. For the current operation, he'd been placed in charge of Hitomi's personal safety. He was in position to defend her as soon as the ransom had been handed off. Of course, Hitomi hadn't been informed of how much protection she was under. There was a risk that if she acted too secure, it might alert the kidnapper. I think Tatano has the right idea. Sasayama snorted quietly. Maybe. I mean, he's a great detective, don't get me wrong. But do you know how many irrelevant things there are to consider? Again, Kano ignored him. It didn't matter if nobody else understood. Kano had faith in Tatano as both a detective and as an individual. He had first witnessed Tatano's brilliance during a standoff at a financial company 3 years earlier. A man had shut himself in an office, splashing gasoline everywhere and threatening to set the place ablaze. While the others hesitated, Tatano unflinchingly doused himself with gasoline and strode into the building, where he managed to talk the man down and secure the scene. The others had been awestruck by Tatano's actions, and Kano, who at the time had been content to be a run-of-the-mill policeman, had found it quite inspiring. Look at him. He's inspired. That's the face of inspiration. That's the face of a man who's going to start a dick diary. Still, you know, Sasayama muttered under his breath, as great a detective as Tatano is, it's not like anyone else in the world has ever heard of him. I suppose not, Kano said. So? Only time anyone ever hears a cop's name is if he's caught up in some scandal or killed in the line of duty. I mean, doesn't seem fair, does it? Kano just shrugged. It was a strange definition of unfair, really. I mean, you've got celebrity chefs and celebrity hairdressers and stuff, so how come no celebrity gumshoes, you know? Gumshoe? Oh my goodness. He's slowly turning into him. Look, please, can you just focus on what we're doing here? Kano rubbed his eyes, then turned his attention back to Hitomi. What's the matter? Didn't sleep? Not enough, I guess. Did you eat? Didn't have time. Between bringing in supplies for the base of operations, readying the team's vehicles, photocopying hundreds of documents and various other tasks, Kano had barely slept the previous night and hadn't gotten a meal in either. The base of operations is usually set up in a large room at the precinct, such as an auditorium. MPD and precinct investigators assemble there, and communications equipment, investigation resources, and such are brought in. Because of the scale and scope of these activities, newspaper reporters can be liable to notice, and so in cases such as kidnapping, where a victim's personal safety is at stake, the flow of information is tightly controlled. What have you been doing? Sasayama puffed out his chest. Saving up my energy for today. So you were sleeping. Kano gave a wry chuckle at his partner's lack of shame. That's a shameless thing to say. There he is! Kuze's voice chirped suddenly through Kano's earpiece. A man in his 20s wearing a sleeveless red jacket. He's carrying a garbage bag. Hey, that guy looks like somebody we know. He was on the main screen. A young man had emerged from the crowd about 15 feet from where Hitomi was standing. He strode toward her, a sinister look on his face. He didn't match Hitomi's description, but Kano felt a jolt of nerves all the same. Maybe the kidnapper had hired some young street punk to snatch the ransom payment. That our guy? What do you think, Kano? Sasayama whispered. Yeah, I think he's gotta be. This was it. Kano swallowed the lump in his throat. He bent his knees, ready to act fast. Blood rushed to his leg muscles, banishing the stiffness that had begun to take hold. Could this be the culprit? Or perhaps... The young man tried to snatch the briefcase from Hitomi, but she clung to it with desperate strength. It was him! The detectives rushed in. Whoa! Hey, what the hell? Ah! The young man cried out frantically and tried to dart away, but the officers closed in, forcing him bodily to the ground. Target secured! Oh, geez, I think we got another suspect on the scene. He's taking the ransom! Kuze's hysterics made Kano spin around. Sure enough, a foreign-looking man was sprinting away, attaché case in hand. The mob of detectives scrambled to pursue. Before Kano could react, most of them had run off, leaving him to look after the original suspect. What should I do with this guy, sir? He might have some connection to the kidnapper. Should I bring him in? Huh? Oh, sure. That'd be swell. I'm on it. With the help of one of the remaining detectives, Kano brought the suspect back to the Shibuya precinct. Look, how many times do we have to go through this? Cut the crap! In the interrogation room, the young man who gave his name as Achi Endo steadfastly insisted on his innocence. Why'd you try to steal that case? Kano watched Achi's face intently. Like I said, it looked heavy, so I was just trying to help her out. It wasn't inconceivable that a young guy would want to help a pretty girl. What? I'm kidding. But Hitomi had just been standing there, hardly in desperate need of assistance. She hadn't set the case down, so I figured there had to be something important inside. An entry from Kano's Dick Diary shot through his mind. Dick dictum number 25. When the tongue slips, grab it and yank out the truth. Okay. Classic advice for questioning. Classic advice. I mean, who doesn't know that one, right? Something important, you say, such as, how the heck would I know? Achi spat. He huffed and slumped back in his chair. The standard textbook back and forth had been going on for nearly an hour. Kano didn't mind. Chasing down criminals was all well and good, but questioning suspects was another key part of the job. Plenty of off-the-scene work went into cracking a case. Once again, he had Achi explain what he'd been doing, starting from the beginning. When Kano finally emerged from the interrogation room for a short break, he learned that there had been some progress on the case at the crime scene. What the police hadn't been able to determine yet, however, was whether or not Maria was safe. Fighting back his anxiety, Kano consulted his Dick Diary. Dick dictum number 54. Haste makes waste. He felt his tension subside. Remembering the right maxim always helped. It was like casting a magic spell. Kano returned to confront Achi once more. You were there to act as a distraction, to mess up the investigation, weren't you? Huh? Achi looked a bit dumbfounded. What are you on about? Dick dictum number 55. The truth hungers to be free. You hungry? Got some katsudon if you like. Katsudon, a Japanese dish consisting of a bowl of white rice topped with breaded pork cutlet and egg. There are several variations, such as sauce katsudon, where the egg is replaced with Worcestershire sauce, and miso katsudon, where the pork is stewed in miso. Not typically the sort of thing a policeman offers a suspect during an interrogation. This could be seen as baiting with food, and is to be avoided. Achi nodded silently. Achi devoured the bowl of katsudon with gusto. He looked like he hadn't eaten in a while. Alright then, spill it. What's this guy after? Achi just shrugged. I don't know, he murmured, a thick slice of egg-laden pork between his teeth. How many accomplices do you have? Kano asked, but Achi just shook his head as he inhaled his food. Resignedly, Kano flipped through his notebook once more. Let's see, number 115, use the light to your advantage. What is this, Riddick? As the minutes ticked past, he found himself referring to his book again and again, trying a dozen different methods to tease out whatever his suspect might be hiding. The experience began to feel strangely surreal, their two voices echoing hollowly in the interrogation room. Eventually, Kano looked at the clock and realized that the questioning had been going on for nearly 5 hours. He still hadn't made any headway. It's 2 in the afternoon now. What was he supposed to do next? Tatno would know, but he sure didn't. Still, he was determined to do whatever he could to keep the victim and her family safe. Gritting his teeth in frustration, he perused his dick diary like it was scripture. Number 116. The monotonous questioning was clearly tiring Achi out. His eyelids drooped like they were beginning to get heavy. Number 117. Get them when they're tired. Kano's eyes gleamed. You're part of some criminal gang, huh? Achi's head slumped forward heavily. Nodding off was basically the same as nodding yes. Right? Mr. Kuze, I did it! The young guy we grabbed at the handoff site, he finally confessed to the crime! I love the insane expression he has there. Unhinged! What? What are you talking about? Kuze laughed in disbelief. We're just about to apprehend the mastermind here. Huh? Kano clutched his cell phone, dumbstruck. Listen, why don't you, look, just wait there at HQ, okay? No, it can't be. After the kidnapping case wrapped up, Kano tendered his resignation. Guess I'm not cut out to be a detective after all, he thought to himself. He dropped the dick diary on his desk as he left the Shibuya precinct for the last time. Bad end, as you probably guessed. Number 1, so long, Shibuya. Kano wound up at a bad end. However, this does not mean that the choice you made for Kano was the wrong one. One of the other protagonists, Achi Endo, has an impact on Kano's fate here. You can avoid a bad end by making proper decisions, not those improper decisions. No, we don't truck with those around here. In another character's story. For a detailed hint, check the tip by underlining the bad end title, press X and then A. All right. Kano had every reason to suspect Achi Endo, but arresting him turned out to be a mistake. If Achi hadn't approached Hitomi, this wouldn't have happened. Try playing Achi's story up to 10:30 and make a choice that keeps him from going up to her. If you do that, Kano won't even have a chance to arrest him, and things should play out differently. All right, well, let's go do that, shall we? It's time to Achi. We're not going to be Kano, we're going to Achi, like we did last summer. All right. You can now select Achi Endo, one of the other protagonists. Let's follow Achi's story for a little while. Yeah, Kano is stuck in a keep out, so we gotta go do Achi. Great Red Dragoning over here. He's ready. Achi Endo called out at the door to his father's room. Okay, I'm heading out. Sure. His father sounded unconcerned. He didn't even open the door. Sure you don't want me to stay here in the shop? It's not like we're gonna get any customers. Achi grimaced. Yeah, I guess not. The drawer by the front door held a stack of heavy-duty trash bags. Achi pulled a few of them out. Guess it's gonna be that kind of day. He stuffed the trash bags into his pocket, then slipped on his favorite pair of sneakers. Look at them. Look at them. The entryway to Achi's home also led into the family shop. Various pieces of electronics were piled up like so much junk in the tiny retail space. The slightest bump brought the risk of an avalanche. Achi wove his way through the gaps in the appliances like a spelunker exploring a cave. How vivid, I love it. From Shibuya Station, if you make your way past the 109 building, then up through Dogonzaka, you'll come across an old shopping district. Nestled in its outskirts is Endo Electronics, in the same place it's been for decades. Within its dimly lit interior, you'll find rows of wares all caked in dust. At a glance, you might well assume the place was closed. A mom-and-pop place like Endo's couldn't compete with the big consumer chains booming throughout Shibuya. So far, the store had remained in business thanks to the locals who appreciated that they made house calls to do repairs. I remember when it was a lot easier to repair computers. But, time goes on. But things weren't looking good for the future. Achi, the eldest son and nominal successor to the business, had no interest whatsoever in working there. I don't blame him. Achi stepped out of the shop and into the sunny morning air. The good weather lifted his spirits. Alrighty, time to do this! He unfurled one of the big garbage bags, which caught the wind and fluttered like a cape. Then he slowly made his way towards Shibuya Station, scanning his surroundings all the while. Sheesh, this place is filthy! He paused to pick up a plastic bottle that had been tossed onto the ground. Then, with a heavy sigh, he slipped the crushed receptacle into the trash bag. Look at that, he's cleaning up. He'd been picking up trash around town like this for about 6 months now. It had gotten so that the sort of garbage most people would hardly notice stood out to him like a sore thumb. Most days, he'd fill his trash bag to the top by the time he made it from his house in Dogonzaka to the train station. Today, he was halfway to the station when a woman's anxious voice caught his attention. "I'm sorry. I'm in a bit of a hurry here." He looked up and saw a timid-looking woman being confronted by 2 men, one with brown hair, one with black. From the look of them, he guessed that the men were scouts for some hostess club. Okay, they don't have a trigger for that? He ran into this sort of thing pretty frequently on his trash-cleaning walks around town. Another kind of trash to take care of. Achi quickly interposed himself between the girl and the 2 recruiters. "Hey, can't you see that you're bothering her?" "Huh? Who the hell are you?" The 2 men glared. "Take a hike, pal!" Achi stood his ground. "Look, she ain't interested. You're just gonna have to find some other mark." The hustler's annoyance turned to open rage. Well, listen to you. Got a bit of a mouth, huh, buddy?" The brown-haired thug smacked his lips around his chewing gum like a dog worrying a bone. "How about we take this someplace more quiet, yeah?" "Someplace more quiet?" What this means can depend on the person speaking. To a young woman, "Let's go someplace more quiet" might suggest a cafe or a park, but to a street punk, it might mean an alley where passers-by are unlikely to interrupt. The girl stood by uneasily, watching the goings-on. "Hey, take it easy. I'm not looking for trouble." "Is that supposed to be an apology? On your knees and beg, pal!" The man spat his gum onto the ground. Achi looked down at the glistening wad of gum on the sidewalk. His last shred of goodwill vanished. "You better pick that up right now." "What? Didn't you hear me? Because I told you to get on your knees and... He act!" Achi's hand shot out, grabbing the man by the jaw. Whoa, easy, pal!" The other man's bravado drained from his face. Achi tightened his grip on the brown-haired hustler's jaw. Sweat dripped from the man's reddening brow. The man struggled, but Achi just tightened his grip. Gum's a real pain in the ass to clean up after it's gotten stuck to the street, you know? Ever stop to consider that? "Wait, are you?" The other hustler's panicked eyes had fixed on Achi's chest. "Ah! Oh, crap! That shirt, man!" The guy's voice was starting to break. I know. I look at that and I get terrified as well. "That's mean clean!" A guy with a mean clean shirt, carrying around a trash bag. "That means you're..." His face went pale. "Mean clean?" The other man echoed the words through his held-shut jaw, tears welling up in his eyes. "Get it right, pal. Achi clenched the man's jaw harder still. It's mean, clean. Ow! Wow, 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 wow. We're sorry, man. You're Achi, right? Dude, we honestly had no idea. Come on, man, you gotta cut us some slack. The man scrambled to snatch the wad of gum off the street, stuffing it into his pants pocket. Finally, Achi let go of his companion. Ooh, gum in your pocket? That's gotta be awful. The brown-haired hustler's face was twisted up with fear. Tears streamed down his cheeks. Gasping out hasty apologies, the two thugs scampered off. Hey, so... A shy smile came to the girl's face. Girl, Ryoko Kakinuma, a second-year student at Midoriyama Academy's law school. These hustlers managed to corner her while she was on her way to her part-time job at a cafe. It's a popular plot in trashy e-novels for the main character to fall in love with a hustler like these guys, but such things rarely happen in real life. Thank you for saving me. No, I apologize. Huh? The girl stared in surprise. You'll run into creeps like that now and then, but don't hold it against us. Shibuya is a good town. Yeah, okay. Achi gave her a quick wave, then turned and continued on his way down Dogonzaka. Achi was Shibuya born and raised. He was keenly aware of all the changes the ward had seen since he was a kid. Grocery stalls and inconspicuous little side streets, tiny parks nestled between buildings. Achi knew it all like the back of his hand. Trash, human or otherwise, had no place in this town. Not on his watch. Achi made his way down toward Shibuya Station. Throngs of people shuffled to and fro across the Scramble. The view shifted constantly from one moment to the next, almost as if the city itself were alive. And if the city was a living thing, then Shibuya Station was its heart, with streets like Bunkamura-dori and Center Gai serving as the arteries pumping a bloodstream made of people. Today, as ever, the heart was pumping that blood to every nook and cranny of Shibuya. And there was Achi, just another part of this great urban organism. Guess I'm one of the city's white blood cells. Or wait, maybe I'm a red blood cell. Hold on. Is that right? Or did I have it right the first time? White blood cells eliminate pathogens from the bloodstream. Red blood cells carry oxygen throughout the body. I'm glad that we're stopping to explain this. I genuinely love how visual novels will be like, we're just going to take a second to teach you something. And it has nothing to do with the story. We're just going to, teach you it. It's great. Achi was probably thinking of white blood cells. I bet he was. I knew that. I grew up watching Bill Nye the Science Guy. Emerging from his reverie, he noticed a rather conspicuous young woman standing with the statue of Hachiko outside Shibuya Station. We know that woman! Oh, she's totally my type. Oh. My type. To be up someone's alley. To be someone's cup of tea. Thank you, game. I did not know what that was. Wonder if she's a model or small-time actress or something. Looks like she's waiting for someone. Probably another guy. Dang. Good-looking as she was, there was no way she wasn't already taken. What kind of guy scored a girl like that? Probably rich-ass CEO of an IT company or something. Crouching down to tie off the trash bag, he continued gazing wistfully at the girl. Then, he noticed something peculiar. She was carrying an attaché case, the kind a businessman might use. It was a large case and apparently so heavy that she was struggling to hold it, despite using both hands. Alright, so we know... So you've reached a decision point. Let's have Achi not approach Hitomi. Yes, we know. Because option A, just for posterity, it says, now what kind of person makes a young lady lug around something heavy like that? Achi figured he'd offer to carry it for her. B is, but first, I gotta dump this trash. He looked around to see if there was a garbage bin nearby. So we know option A ends with Kano basically kidnapping Achi and then ending up spending the rest of this entire visual novel wasting both of their time. So instead, we're going to go with option B. But first, I got to dump this trash. He looked around to see if there was a garbage bin nearby. Now, Achi won't approach Hitomi, which means he will avoid being arrested by Kano. At the same time, Kano's fate will also change. And he will no longer wind up at a bad end. So let's switch back to Kano's story using the time chart. Press Y to open it. Okay. So we can just pause where we're at with Achi. This is the time chart. It shows the protagonist's progression. Through the story, decision points are marked with the arrows. Kano's fate is changed based on Achi's actions. Select Kano's 1030 block, then press A. So we're going back to Kano. A suspicious man. Okay, so we're back to this. There we go. There he is! Kuze's voice chirped suddenly through Kano's earpiece. The man in the black coat. He's not Japanese. Looks to be in his early 30s. Previously, Achi got mixed up with Kano and the police, but now another man has appeared instead. By changing what Achi did, you've also changed Kano's story. A foreign man had emerged from the crowd about 15 feet from where Hitomi was standing. He made his way toward her, his expression blank. He didn't match the description Hitomi had given them, but Kano felt a jolt of nerves all the same. Maybe the kidnapper was using an accomplice to snatch the ransom payment. Alright, Sasayama raised an eyebrow. This may be our guy. This was it. Kano swallowed the lump in his throat. He bent his knee, ready for action. Blood rushed to his leg muscles, banishing the stiffness that had begun to take hold, just like last time. So this is the guy who took the case last time. Was this the culprit? Or perhaps... The stranger took hold of the attaché case. It was him! En masse, the detectives began to close in. Let's go, Kano! On it! Sasayama and Kano leapt into action, but they never expected what happened next. With the case clutched in both arms, the man veered suddenly, running right toward them. What? Keep out. Kano's story has suddenly had a keep out. Keep out refers to a point in the story where your progress is currently stopped. In order to advance beyond a keep out, you need to jump from another protagonist's story. At 10:30, Achi has the text, young man in a suit, set as red keywords. Checking these red keywords will allow you to jump from Achi's story back to Kano's. Now, head back to Achi's story and keep an eye out for that key phrase. I like the way this game's set up. This is a lot of fun. Try following the story from Achi at 10:30, approach the girl. Alright? So we've been kept out. We've been plot blocked. So we gotta go approach the girl. Alright, so we know Achi must dump the trash. Yeah. Looked around. Huh? A man had come up beside the girl. He was dressed in black and he wasn't Japanese. It looked like they were having a conversation. The girl nodded tensely at something the man said. Achi stared. I love that you can see Kano and Sasayama behind him. That's great. I love all the connections. Something tells me that's not her boyfriend. The girl handed the attaché case over to the man. He took hold of it with his right hand and began walking briskly away. Whoa! A nearby homeless man suddenly leapt over Achi and broke into a run as if he'd been waiting for this very moment. Homeless man, Yuji Sasayama, a detective with the Shibuya precinct, known as the Cosplay Detective, due to the strange outfits he wears while on stakeouts. He's partnered with Shinyo Kano for the kidnapping investigation. Spreading alongside him was a young man in a suit. Some words in the text appear in red. Red text denotes important keywords that let you jump between different protagonists' stories. This allows you to shift between characters at specific points. These can also allow you to clear out a keep out in another character's story and let you read on. If you come across red text, press X to underline it, then press A. A window will appear, allowing you to jump from one protagonist to another at that point. Then press A to continue the other character's story after the keep out. Give it a try! Let's do it. Young man in a suit. Kano. By performing a jump from this screen, you can advance another protagonist's story past a keep out. Yes, let's do it. Sorry, Achi, it's Kano hour. Let's go, Kano! On it! Sasayama and Kano leapt into action. You did it! Jump successful. In 428, you will often need to jump to get past another character's keep out. Jump from red keywords to clear a keep out. Keep this in mind as you advance through the story. Okay, there won't be any more tutorial messages for a while. If you get stuck somewhere, try changing protagonists or making different decisions to advance. You can now use the time chart in the main menu. From the main menu, you can access gameplay explanations and adjust settings. Press Y to open the time chart, and the start button to open the main menu. Okay. But they never expected what happened next. Right. The case clutched in both arms, the man suddenly veered, running right toward them. What? Catching sight of the two detectives, the suspect staggered to a halt, then bolted off in a new direction. Kano whipped off his costume glasses and followed in hot pursuit. There's a pair of glasses, and there's a banana peel. At the crosswalk, the signal changed to red, and the flow of foot traffic abruptly halted. Just as quickly, hundreds of cars all lurched back into motion. There was no escape for the culprit now. I like the confused looks on people behind them. Like, I wonder if they were told, like the public was told if they were doing a video game or not. Or so it appeared. The converging cops slowed their pace, confident their man was cornered. Then the foreigner barreled straight into the intersection, dodging between the oncoming cars without any hesitation. The mob of detectives came to a halt, not eager to rush to their deaths along with him. Kano, however, remained in hot pursuit, charging into the traffic at the crossing. Kano, are you crazy? Come back! Kano heard Sasayama shouting, but his feet kept carrying him onward. With shouts and sirens echoing all around him, Kano closed in on the foreigner. Just a little closer, and he'd be in tackling range. He leaned forward, preparing to pounce, his eyes fixed on the culprit's feet. It was now or never. Kano, back off! Don't take him down! It was Kuze, shouting through Kano's earpiece. Huh? Kano hesitated in surprise. Had he really just been ordered not to apprehend the criminal? Let him go for now. The real perp is someplace else. Real perp. Perp is police jargon for perpetrator. Here, Kuze is referring to the fact that the principal offender in the case might be elsewhere. What had happened to the plan? He'd been told that all personnel were to secure the area ASAP. Didn't HQ want them to catch the perpetrator? Arrest team, stay on the foreigner's tail. Arrest team. Police team dedicated exclusively to the task of apprehending the criminal. While a kidnapping case is in progress, the roles of the officers involved are carefully designated so that every officer is ready to take immediate action as the situation develops. Typically, tried and true veteran MPD officers are put in charge of teams for breaking into perp buildings or apprehending the suspect. Forensics team, get busy cross-referencing photos. Forensics team. Team deployed by the MPD to handle the actual tests and techniques of on-scene investigation, such as collecting and comparing fingerprints and analyzing photos of suspects. Even if this foreigner was only an underling, hired for this one task, the police had now tipped their hand that they'd been lying in wait. If they didn't lock things down now and get more info on the kidnapper, a girl's life might be at stake. Kano recalled another maxim from his Dick Diary. Dictum number 12. Always assume a worst-case scenario. If Kuze had told him to let this guy go, that implied he was counting on the team that was now in position. But if the crook had planned a way to break through the police dragnet and escape with the ransom and he had succeeded, what was the right call here? Should he take this guy down or back off after all? Letting the perp escape now was too big of a risk. He had to catch this guy ASAP, or let the other officers chase after the guy. Kano had his own job to do. Let's go with A, and let's see what happens. Letting the perp escape now was too big of a risk. He had to catch this guy ASAP. The man darted down a narrow alleyway. Kano ran faster. The man sprinted through the side streets. Evidently, he knew his way around Shibuya pretty well. Someone's taken Hitomi! Kano recognized Kuze's trademark squawk immediately. Subject is male. He appears to be carrying a gun. He's fleeing in the direction of Meiji-dori. What? Kano could hardly believe it. Hitomi had been kidnapped? Had she been abducted by whoever had taken Maria? But why? Someone must have been waiting for the moment when the police took their eyes off her. Something's very wrong here. What in the world is going on? Kano saw that the road forked up ahead. The man with the attaché case ran to the left. If the man who'd taken Hitomi was heading toward Meiji-dori, there was a good chance he'd gone down one of the alleyways off to the right. Making a snap judgment, Kano told the detective behind him to follow the case snatcher, then turned and headed down the nearest alley. I like how he's just a blur. After darting through the side streets, he spotted a different man, another foreigner, crossing an intersection a few dozen meters ahead. The man was dressed in black, just like the guy who'd grabbed the ransom money. Kuze's right. The kidnapper wasn't acting alone. But wait, something was amiss. Hitomi isn't with him. Where was she? Kano skidded around the corner, then stopped short. The man in black was standing there, pointing a gun right at him. Before Kano could react, the man fired. Kano felt hot all over, as if he were on fire. All except for his cheek, pressed against the asphalt, and the palms of his hands. They felt so cold. There was nothing he could do. Nothing, that is, except lie there and watch as his killer turned and walked away. Bad end. Shot by a foreigner. Oh. Oh man, I can't make any jokes. I can't do it. I can't make any jokes. By trying to find the man who'd taken Hitomi, Kano ran into a different criminal, and unfortunately for him, he got shot. If the criminal hadn't been able to get near Hitomi, she probably wouldn't have been taken. Have Achi make the choice to talk to Hitomi instead at 10:35. All right. That's a pretty direct hint. So poor Kano got shot. What if we do the other, to follow or not? I want to see that. Was the right call? Let's see. So let's do let the other officers chase, hit his own dub. Kuze's instructions have been clear. Let the other officers chase after the guy. Kano had his own job to do. He broke off his pursuit, pointing the next wave of detectives in the direction the foreigner had fled. Kano had almost gotten close enough to get a good look at the guy's face, but if Kuze had ordered him to let the guy go, well, his boss should know what he was doing. The perp was someone else's problem now. He had just ceased his pursuit when Kuze's panicked voice sounded shrill in his ear. Someone's taken Hitomi! Kano recognized Kuze's trademark squawking, something who's male. Oh, okay, so it doesn't really matter then, huh? Yeah. Hitomi had been kidnapped. Okay. Yeah, so it's the same. No matter what, it goes to the same thing. Got it. All right, well, let's go to Achi again. Young man in the suit. Jump. Right. Nearby homeless man, and then the man in the suit. Young man in the suit. Yep. Okay. First one, then another. A third, a fourth, a fifth. Over a dozen now. What the heck? Clearly, something big was going down. Were they after the attaché case? Within moments, Achi lost sight of them all through the crowd. Were that many people chasing him? The guy with the case was sure to get caught. But wait, what about that girl? Hachi turned back around. The girl was still there. She was staring in the direction that the man who'd taken the case had gone, a worried expression on her face. Alright, so now the choice is talk to her or don't intrude, basically. Like, they had to be shooting a scene for a film on location. Which technically, yes, they're actually making a visual novel, but yeah, we've got to go talk to her. Hachi couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. Maybe he should talk to her and ask what was going on. But just as he was making up his mind, a middle-aged man in a ratty business suit shuffled awkwardly over to her first. With a cane. Was there something wrong with one of his legs? He was using a cane to walk. Then one of his hands slipped into his jacket pocket. Hachi could scarcely believe his eyes. A revolver? Revolver. Colt Detective Special. A .38 caliber revolver introduced in 1927 by Colt's Manufacturing Company. A classic example of a snub-nosed revolver. As the name implies, the weapon is frequently carried by detectives, narcotics officers, and the like for self-defense. Suddenly, a young man came running through the crowd. Seeing him, the man with the cane turned on his heel and vanished in the scramble. Something big was going down. What is all this? The young man was closing in on the girl, his expression grim. That guy's up to no good. Hachi sprang into motion. Hi-ya! Leaping high, Hachi delivered a flying kick right between the man's shoulder blades. Our protagonists are fighting. The guy went down but recovered surprisingly fast, spinning back to his feet to grapple with Hachi. What the hell is your problem? What the hell is your problem, man? Hachi snapped. The two stood, staring each other down as the crowd swirled around them. Let go of me! You let go of me first! After you let go of me, sure! You first, pal. Don't you call me pal, man! Don't call me man, pal! Is that in the original, or did we do the South Park reference? Neither man was willing to yield. The crowd had parted to avoid the scuffle. Passers-by were staring from all sides. Well, crap. Hachi got a sudden sinking feeling. What the hell am I even doing? Jumped in over my head, as usual. His anger melted away. He loosened his grip. Without further argument, the other man let go of Hachi's jacket. Turning quickly away, the stranger hurried over to the statue of Hachiko, where he dropped to his knees, dejected. The girl who'd been standing there was nowhere to be seen. Maybe this guy was the guy she'd been waiting for? The guy was clearly upset that she was missing, and Hachi actually kind of felt bad for him. He decided it would be wise to leave while the guy's attention was elsewhere. Phew! He hurried back along the road to his house. The wind had gone out of his sails, and he didn't feel much like cleaning up trash anymore. Ah, well, guess I'll read some manga and go to bed. Better play it safe before the day got any worse. Bad end! Tussle with a stranger. Hachi's interference with the young man, it was Kano, disrupted the detective's sting. If Hachi hadn't acted on impulse when he saw Kano heading for Atomi, things might have gone differently. But how can you make sure Kano doesn't return to the Scramble and startle Hachi? The key lies further along in Kano's story. So, okay, we gotta have Kano basically not... He's gotta disobey his commanding officer, so to follow or not. Okay, we gotta be disobedient here. Was the right call. And, well, yeah, letting the perp escape is too big a risk. Okay. So, he's after the guy now. So, yep, see that? Remove the block on Hachi. So what's the deal? Let's see what the deal is, shall we? Yeah, the girl was still there. She was staring in the direction the man had taken the case. Right. So now we should talk to her, and we should not have sudden Kano. Something was very, very wrong. Maybe he should talk to her and ask what was going on. But, just as he was making up his mind, middle-aged man... Yeah, so the middle-aged man comes up. After this, Kano... Yeah, he was using a cane to walk. One of his hands slipped into his jacket pocket. Yeah. It is a little annoying. Like, some visual novels that have paths let you, like, skip faster. This game doesn't seem to do that, unfortunately. With a single fluid motion, the man lifted up the gun and pointed it in the girl's direction. He was aiming right for her head. Huh? The girl had noticed the man with the cane now. Seeing the gun pointed right at her, she froze in fear. Achi didn't hesitate. Breaking into a full run, he tackled the gunman with all his might. Caught off guard, the man sprawled to the pavement. But the would-be assassin kept hold of his weapon and quickly scrambled to his feet. Achi knew he had to act fast. He grabbed the ashen-faced girl by the arm and attempted to drag her away. "This way!" he shouted. She just stared at him, uncomprehending, trembling like a startled animal. "Come on, run!" Finally, the girl snapped out of her daze and gave a fearful nod. "The police box, let's go." Let's just get out of here. Let's just get out of here. The would-be assassin was getting back to his feet. Achi grabbed the girl by the hand. "Run!" Without so much as a backward glance, he led her beneath the railway overpass for the Yamanote line. They needed to get as far away as possible, fast. Their best bet was to head toward the east side of the station. It was less crowded there. It would be easier to run. "Don't worry, you can trust me." Dragging the hesitant girl behind him, he took off through the crowd. Suddenly it dawned on him that he had still held the trash bag in his other hand. You know, this thing's gonna be a real pain in my ass. Achi paused just long enough to toss the trash into a garbage bin as they passed by a park, then took off again. Someone shouted from behind, "Stop right there!" Achi looked back in alarm to see a stranger charging after them. It was one of the guys from the crowd who had run after the attaché case snatcher. You gotta be kidding me! Now he's chasing us? Whoever he was young and fit and gaining fast. It's Kano again! Realizing the girl could never outrun this guy, Achi stopped abruptly. Shielding her behind him, he turned to face the stranger. "Why did you run off?" "Because you were chasing us!" The other fellow eyed Achi skeptically. Maybe he was a buddy of the man with the cane. Keeping his guard up, Achi began to back away. "Look, just let the girl go." The guy was acting like he knew her. Achi glanced back, but the girl only shook her head, wide-eyed. The other man's posture shifted, preparing to lunge. But as Achi braced himself for a scuffle, something came crashing down upon the stranger's head. Gah! His eyes wobbled and spun in their sockets, and he collapsed in a heap on the ground. "Oh no, poor Kano!" And there, standing behind him, was the girl he'd helped out earlier, the one he'd saved from the hustlers. "Hey, you're that girl from this morning. Are you okay?" Next to the fallen pursuer's form was a rather thick book. She nodded toward it. "He looked dangerous, so I just threw that at him." "Oh yeah, thank you. This saves my bacon big time." "It's the least I could do after the way you helped me earlier." "Sure thing. You should probably get out of here before that guy comes to. Like you said, he's probably dangerous." "Right." Achi scooped up the heavy book and handed it to the girl, who promptly left the scene. "Now we better get out of here." The girl nodded. They started down the street, only to see the man with a cane round the corner a few dozen meters ahead. Ugh, this is not good. The assassin had spotted them, and he hurried in their direction. "This way!" Achi led the girl into a nearby alleyway. "But this way's a dead end," the girl said breathlessly. "Like I said, just trust me." Stopping abruptly, Achi kicked down a wooden plank covering a gap between two buildings, clearing a space that a person could fit through. "See? We can get away through here. In you go!" But the girl just stood there, looking terrified. "What's the matter?" Achi asked. "Come on! We gotta hurry!" But I... She looked at him as if he too was about to pull a gun on her. He could hardly blame her. After all, he was just some random guy who had turned up out of nowhere. But this was no time for dawdling. The man with the cane appeared at the end of the alley. If they just stood there, he was going to catch them. "Okay, sweetheart, hear me out," he said in a rush. "The name's Achiendo. I live in the neighborhood, and I'm not the kind to stand idly by when a girl is being chased by some killer. So please just trust me, and I'll do my best to keep you safe." He hoped the look in his eyes could convince her he was being on the level. After a painfully long moment, the girl nodded her acceptance. "Phew. Right, let's start with this. They had paused beside an enormous stack of beverage crates. With a quick shove, Achi knocked the whole pile down, sending it cascading across their pursuer's path. Now that was a close call. The man with the cane was floundering, struggling to get past the fallen crates. "My bad, man," Achi called out. "Mind cleaning that up for me?" The man scowled back at them and fumbled for his gun. Achi flashed him a wave goodbye and slipped away between the buildings with the girl. The log lady! Oh no, it's another Twin Peaks reference. Hurrying down a narrow alley, they emerged onto a side street lined with dive bars and clubs. Assuming the man with the cane hadn't given up, he would probably lie in wait on the path back to the main road. Achi decided their best bet was to try to stay inconspicuous, rather than risk getting caught on the move. "Guess we can lie low here for a bit," he said. He led the girl to the entrance of a tiny old hostess club. She followed him reluctantly. A hostess club called the Log Lady? Yeah, for those who don't know, hostess clubs are basically Japanese things where you pay a woman to pretend she's on a date with you, essentially. And she just hangs out with you while you eat and drink and pretends to be interested in what you have to say. Sounds horribly depressing to me and like a pure nightmare, but apparently it's fairly popular over there. Okay. Achi flicked the switch inside the front door and a chintzy chandelier glowed to life. He sat the girl down on the small sofa beside the counter. She gave him a worried look. Achi felt a pang of embarrassment as he realized what she must be thinking. "Oh, no, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not going to try any funny business. Someone I know used to run this place. It's not in business anymore, so I figure we're safe here." The girl chuckled at his evident discomfort. "All right, then," she said. "So, we good?" "We're good." "Okay, well, good." Achi made a vague attempt to straighten his disheveled clothes. "So, how about some introductions? I'm Achi Endo, like I said earlier. You can just call me Achi. I'm Hitomi Osawa. You can call me Hitomi, I guess." With each new word out of Hitomi's mouth, Achi felt his heart sing. She was charming, personable. Just about everything about her was captivating. Achi had never met another girl like her. Achi? What? Is something the matter? You were spacing out there for a bit." Achi shook his head to dispel his daze. This is no time to get all starry-eyed. He needed to think of some way to keep her safe from the guy who was after her. "Look, can you tell me what the heck is going on? Please? I need to know if I'm going to help you." "Right, okay. I'm not really sure where to begin." Hitomi looked down, lost in thought. Apparently hers was a long story. "All right," she said at last. "I guess I'll just explain things as they happened." "Wait, hold up. Could you keep it as simple as you can? I mean, I'm not really the sharpest tool in the shed. Complicated explanations ain't exactly my strong suit." "Okay," Hitomi chuckled. "I'll try my best." She got comfortable and then started her story. "So last night, somebody abducted my sister. The kidnapper demanded that I make the ransom handoff personally. He told me to stand by the statue of Hachiko in Shibuya at 10 o'clock in the morning to make the exchange. So I did, and... Oh, wait. This man came by and took the attaché case with the money, and then afterwards that other guy with the cane turned up and pointed his gun at me and... Whoa, I'm sorry, hold up a sec." Achi had suddenly lost the thread of the conversation. At times like these, you can press up to go back and reread what you've already seen. You can also press down to quickly scroll back through sections you've already read. A mark will appear in the upper left corner of the screen while you're paging back and forth like this. You can press the A button to reread the marked page. "Could you say that again, but simpler?" "Huh? Sure." "I'm just having trouble following is all. I mean, is this the plot to some movie or soap opera? Or some silly visual novel?" "No, that's not." Or some kind of hidden camera show? This is real. This really happened. The look in Hitomi's eyes was dead serious. She's got to be telling the truth. What would be the point of lying? And he had seen the attaché case and the gunman himself. How much was the ransom, if you don't mind my asking? Hitomi hesitated. 50 million yen, she said after a moment. Hachi gave a whistle of amazement. The detectives told me that was a typical amount for a kidnapper to ask for. It's plenty, that's for sure. I guess there's good money in that sort of thing. As soon as the words were out, he realized his blunder. Sorry, I shouldn't have put it that way. He fidgeted awkwardly and Hitomi looked away. I'm an idiot, but okay. I think I get this kidnapping thing. So, I'm guessing those guys who chased the guy who took the ransom were undercover cops? He replayed the scene in his head. But then, the kidnapper took the attaché case and ran, right? So, if you were empty-handed, why'd that guy with the cane come after you? I'm honestly not sure. Hitomi's words trailed off. This was clearly difficult for her to talk about. Anyway, we should probably get you to the police as soon as we... No, we can't do that. Hitomi's tone was resolute. I can't take this to the police. Why not? Hachi waited for an answer, but none came. After a long and awkward silence, she stood up from her seat. I really appreciate the help, but I should go now. She gave Hachi a deep bow. Nuh-uh, hold on. What do you mean, go? Go where? He hurried to intervene as she headed for the door. I don't want to cause you any more trouble. I'll figure the rest out on my own, somehow. Hey, I said, hold on! Hitomi ignored him and opened the door, and their argument came to an abrupt halt. Oh no! Standing there was the man with the cane, his revolver in his hand. Are we gonna get a keep out? Oh, we're gonna get a keep out, aren't we? Something's gonna happen. To be continued. Okay. Hachi Endo's 10 a.m. story ends here. However, Kano's story is still stuck at a bad end. This is due to one of Hachi's decisions. Go back to Hachi's decision point at 10:35 and change the choice he makes in order to change Kano's fate. This way, Hachi's choice can help someone else, while his own story remains resolved. The key to getting all the characters through to the end is to go back and change choices for characters that have already made it through the current hour of their story. Oh, so Kano's fate is to get clonked on the head and taken out. Let's play Kano's Tailing the Foreigner till we get to that point, because I kind of want to see this. So yeah, Kano ran faster. The man sprinted to the side. Right, he knew his way. They appeared to be a young couple. Then, looking more closely, he realized that the girl was Hitomi. Mr. Kuze, I've located Hitomi Hosawa. The couple took off running, the rough-looking guy dragging Hitomi by the hand. She's with a man in his 20s. It looks like she's being led away against her will. Clarify, please, Kuze demanded. What's going on? I'm not sure. Was this guy a member of some criminal group? It looked like the two were running away from something. All right, we'll handle the foreigner. You go after Hitomi. Got it. Kano sprang into action. Stop right there! The young man glanced back at Kano, but rather than stopping, he picked up speed, continuing to drag Hitomi along with him. She didn't seem quite able to keep up. Kano knew he could catch them. He tried to close the distance in a sprint. After a short distance, the young man stopped, realizing he couldn't outrun his pursuer. Shielding Hitomi behind him, he glowered at Kano. Why did you run off? Kano demanded. Because you were chasing us. A blatant lie. People didn't just bolt like that without good reason. The young tough started edging away, keeping Hitomi behind him. Kano followed. Look, just let the girl go. The guy glanced back at Hitomi. She shook her head fearfully. Maybe this troublemaker had warned her to keep her mouth shut. You've got this, Kano. Just don't let them out of your sight. And... Gah! A sudden blow to the top of his head left him staggering. His eyes spun as he reeled with vertigo. There was a flipping sound and a vague black shape wheeled above him. Was that a crow? No, it's the Yatagarasu! Oh no! It was the last thing Kano saw before his vision went dark. Bad end! And it was that a crow? In the midst of chasing the man who snatched the attaché case, Kano happened across Hitomi and Achi. While confronting them, he suffered a blow to the head and was knocked out cold. But Achi only came this way because he thought it was the quickest way to escape with Hitomi. If he'd gone for the police box instead, things might have gone differently. The key is what Achi does at 10:35. Okay, so we gotta change Achi's little story here for... Is this it? What's the deal? Taking her hand. Yeah. We gotta choose where to go with her after we grab her. Let's go to the police box. The police box! Let's go! Still pulling the girl by the hand, Achi headed for the police box outside the train station. But it was empty. There were always policemen staffing these things. Why did it have to be unmanned now? Achi flashed a worried glance behind him and saw the assassin in pursuit like a man possessed. Yikes! This is not good! There was nothing they could do but run. With the frightened girl in tow, Achi ran beneath the J.R. Yamanote Line railway overpass. Yamanote Line, a railway loop line that services the Tokyo metropolis. Typically, the morning rush is quite intense, with the stretch from Ueno Station to Okichimachi Station, sometimes crowded as high as 216% capacity. Roughly 300 people, riding the space designed for 143 passengers, unrelated to the Yamate Line subway that operates in the city of Kobe. Don't worry, just trust me, he told her. But first... They sped past a convenience store where an employee was cleaning up the sidewalk. Here, take this, will ya? Achi tossed over the bag of trash. Huh? Wait, huh? This way. They slipped through the crowd and into a nearby back alley. But this way's a dead end. Yeah, just trust me. And he's gonna knock the door down, and he kicked the door down, which leads into the to be continued. But poor Kano lives to tell the tale. We're gonna go back to Kano. So he's gonna chase, Kano ran. Yep, he knew his way around Shibuya pretty well, as we've established. The man shot out onto a major thoroughfare, then bolted up a pedestrian bridge. Just where the heck was this guy heading? Halfway across the bridge, the man stopped abruptly. Cautious, Kano stopped as well. That's quite a look. Height, roughly 190 centimeters. Age, 30s. Hair, dark brown. Clothing, all black. A moment later, the man flashed a triumphant sneer, and he held up the attaché case. Before Kano could even yell stop, it was already too late. He let it go. The man threw the attaché case down to the roadway below. No! Panicking, Kano peered over the railing. A man on a motorcycle was waiting beneath the bridge. I've been had. Kano bit his lip hard. Damn it! Kano sprinted back down the bridge, hearing the bike's engine roar to life. He had to make it in time. Descending the stairs 4 at a time, he leapt toward the roadway, but the bike sped out of reach and roared away in the direction of Yoyogi, leaving Kano in its dust. That guy he did look like Jaws from James Bond. Yeah, he did. That's a great point. Yeah, he really did. Oh my gosh, we have like Spectre villains here. Looking back up at the overpass, he saw the man who'd thrown the attaché case running away. He handed the money off to someone else. He's currently on a motorcycle heading toward Yogi. His report to Kuze complete, Kano slumped down in dismay. The cops had played right into the criminal's hands. Played like a fiddle! Now the crooks were getting away, and people's lives were in danger. Oop, I hit the wrong button. Was there any greater failure for a policeman? Staring off into the distance where the man who'd thrown the case had disappeared, Kano gritted his teeth. To be continued. Alright, we've officially finished 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You've finished reading both character stories for the hour of 10 In 428, you'll make your way through all the protagonist stories in parallel like this. Once everyone has reached the end of a given hour, the next hour can begin. I think we get a little cutscene if I remember right. Yeah, here we go. Can we drop the pleasantries, it says? Sir, this is a waste of time. I've got work for you. It's like totally bogus. What makes any of this my crimes? 11 to noon. We're hashtag locked in. 428 Shibuya Scramble. Resident Scramble. 428. All right. This is the end of the tutorial for this part of the story. You can reread previous tutorial messages via the main menu. There's a lot of important info in there, so reread it closely. Now, 428 has reached the 11 o'clock time block. You have 5 protagonists available. Whose story will you read first? So, okay. Obviously, we had Achi and we had Kano, but we also now have access to Tama, who is a mascot, Osawa, who is obviously related to Hitomi, and Minorikawa. Yeah, Tama. So Minorikawa is a recurring character in certain things. Like, he's also in an anime that is kind of a quasi-sequel to this game called Kanon, I think it was called, the anime. And yeah, Minorikawa is also in that. But hang on a second. I'm going to take a very quick run break, and I will be right back. So let me know who might be interested in playing first. But I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Like I said, quick, because we're locked in here. All right, so we got Minorikawa and Tama. So, all right, let's do this in order. We'll do Tama, then we'll do Minorikawa. Here we go. We're going to start with Tama. There she is. It's so hot. It's so hot in this thing. Way too hot. I feel like I'm sitting in a sauna. Everyone else on the street looks nice and cool. But here I am, getting treated to my very own personal midsummer heat wave. On top of that, I can barely see, can barely breathe, for that matter, but hey, what can I do? Oh, I am so thirsty. Some iced tea would be amazing right now. I'm gonna pass out from dehydration at this rate. I may as well admit it. I underestimated how tough this would be. Who knew wearing a mascot costume could be so uncomfortable? A delicate young lady like myself has no business doing this sort of job. I suddenly have so much respect for the people on those superhero team shows. Like Sentai. Like, can you imagine doing action scenes in something like this? Heck, all I'm doing is standing here, and I'm this close to calling it quits. But I can't. I need the work. I need the money. This is no time to be a wuss. If I give up on this, what else am I possibly going to do? Check out the revolutionary new diet drink, Burning Hammer! I thrust a free sample toward passers-by while shouting as loud as I can. Free sample. A free portion, usually quite small, of a product given out to consumers as a sales gimmick allows them to test the quality and effect of a cosmetic or health product prior to purchase, frequently referred to as a trial size or freebie version of the product. In addition to passing out free samples on the streets, some shops also include free samples with purchased products. Please note that simply taking a product without paying for it in order to test it is theft. Don't do it. Come on and give it a try! Oh, it's no use. People just walk by, one after the other. They avoid looking at the sample. It's been like this ever since I started standing here. Makes me respect the Steel Samurai that much more. Yes! What gives? You'd figure at least one person would have taken a bottle by now. I mean, it's free! But I haven't managed to give away a single one. If this keeps up, there's no way I'm getting paid. And then this whole miserable experience will have been for nothing. Just drink this and watch the pounds melt away. No exercising or dieting necessary. I could hear the desperation in my own voice. Just burn, 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 burn those pounds away. They're giving me cold looks now. They probably think I'm some shyster trying to offload dodgy product. It's that simple! That's simple, folks! You just drink the weight away! I guarantee it! Heck, this whole thing reeks of a scam to me, too. In other words, it seems extremely dubious or suspicious. The word scam, referring to a type of dishonest scheme, is actually of unknown origin. Several folk etymologies are proposed, including that it comes from a simple shortening of scandalous misdeeds, but these claims have little evidence to support them. Losing weight just by drinking some concoction is way too good to be true. But still, free is free. You'd think I'd be able to give one or two away. It's not like I'm not trying. Okay. Pep talk time. You can do this. Think about the money. Just start with one bottle. All right. I'm going to give this bottle away to the next person I see, no matter what. I close my eyes and gather my determination. I just need to get started, and the momentum will build from there. All right, eyes open. Oh no, I know who that guy is on the right. There are two people walking in my direction. Wait, two? Oh no. Which one do I pick? If I keep waffling, they're both going to pass me by. I just need to hand this bottle off. Which one of these guys looks more likely to take it? Clutching the free sample in my furry fist, I try to force it off on the businessman to my left. I try to force it off on the disheveled fellow to my right. We got to give it to Sasayama. Clutching the free sample in my furry fist, I try to force it off on the disheveled fellow to my right. To my surprise, he takes it. Huh? What's this? He asks, lifting an eyebrow as he looks at the bottle. I flap my fuzzy arms and strike a cute pose as I launch into the product pitch. It's Burning Hammer, the #1 new diet drink. Please give it a try. No thanks, the man says. I'm good. I keep my arms held open wide and pretend I didn't hear that. Look, he says, I'm in a hurry. You should give this to someone else. He tries to hand the sample back to me, but I hold my ground. For a few moments, we are at a silent impasse. It's so dramatic. Maybe he's weirded out by my cat alter ego holding its freeze frame pose, because eventually he looks away, slips the bottle into his pocket, and walks off. I did it. I finally got someone to take one. But there are still so many samples left. My brief surge of excitement dies before it can even fully take hold. I wonder how the other mascot is doing about now. There's a sales demo happening today at 1 o'clock at the Nakone building. Huh. Looks like the chicken handed out all kinds of samples. I don't get it. How come nobody's taking any of mine? What could I possibly be doing wrong? Look at the clock. It's a little after 11. My morning of wandering around hawking diet drinks is just about over. I'll need to go get ready to head over to the sales demo. I'd love to take the costume off, but then I'd have to carry it. The samples I haven't given out are almost too heavy as it is. Oh well, I might not have gotten results, but I tried my best. I sure hope they don't withhold my pay or anything. Huh? What gives? You got that many left? The chicken speaks with a female voice. Yeah, I reply sheepishly. Nobody seems to want to take mine. Well, I mean, are you looking for the right targets? Huh? Like groups of girls or bored-looking older ladies? Those are the types you're gotta be gunning for, you know. Wow. I hadn't even considered that. Now that she says it, it seems so obvious. This is a diet drink, after all. Of course, I'm not gonna have any luck trying to foist it off on random guys. Well, whatever, the chicken says. Here, give me the samples you've got left. I hand over my samples, and the chicken dumps the whole lot into her basket. I'll drink whatever's left so they don't find out you didn't pass them out, she says. Huh? Wait, like all of them? Yeah, all of them. The chicken sounds pretty confident in herself. These may just be sample-sized bottles, but still, they add up to a lot. I can feel myself on the brink of tears with the kindness of her offer. Thank you so much. That's a huge help. I bow deeply, which makes my mascot head wobble. Remember when this was about a kidnapping? Leaving the station behind, we head down Center Gai towards the Nakane building. Multi-tenant office building in Udegawacho, located in Center Gai, Shibuya's downtown district. In addition to hosting the weight loss drink sales demo, the building is also home to the foreign capital protection firm Japan Cellcom, the IT mainstay Shibuya OnNet, SON, video game developer Shindai Tradco, and Strike Back Labs, publisher of the monthly magazine Science Strikes Back, along with many other businesses. The Burning Hammer sales demo is going to be held there this afternoon. The job's supposed to pay 10,000 yen for the day, but if we can sell at least 100 bottles at the demo, they've promised another 10,000 on top of that. I need to make sure I sell those 100 bottles. I need that 20,000 yen, and I need it ASAP. We arrived at the Nakane building, a rundown, multi-tenant office complex. We head into the room where the Burning Hammer sales demo was taking place. There were already about 50 seats set out. I wonder how many people the free sample will pull in. A stage has been set up at the far end of the room. That's where I'm going to be standing, sipping Burning Hammer, while explaining its effects to the customers. Hurry up and take that thing off! The chicken flaps her wings as she speaks. It's kind of early, but come on, let's have lunch. I'm starving! Now that she mentioned it, I realize I'm pretty hungry myself. The demo's not starting for another 2 hours. I can't win a war against my stomach for that long. The chicken and I head to the waiting room, where they've set out our lunches for us. Mind getting my back real quick? The chicken asks. She arches her back toward me. Apparently, she can't reach her own zipper. Oh, sure. Give me just a sec. This is an amazing picture. I try to unzip the back of the chicken suit. My own suit's thick, fuzzy fingers have a hard time of it. What's the holdup? Come on, I'm roasting in this thing. Hurry up and get it off me. I've almost got it. It's just awkward with these mitts. Finally, I got hold of the zipper and yank it downward. A girl emerges from the chicken as if the chicken itself were an egg. Oh, I'm alive! Her red sweatshirt is drenched in sweat. Almost at once, she's kicking back and cooling off with a hand fan. Sorry, but would you mind getting me too? I ask. Yeah, okay. I turn my back to the girl. I hear metal clacking behind me. At long last, I'm about to be free of this 5-ton fursuit. Huh? The girl murmurs awkwardly. Huh? What? A spike of anxiety hits me. What's wrong? I ask. Yeah, that's a no-go. I love the animation! That's so good! Zipper's busted. What? Yeah, sorry. This thing ain't coming off. What? My vision goes dark. No. No. No! I tug desperately at the costume, but no look. I'm trapped inside. Oh, what the crap! Well, we can talk to the boss about it when he gets back, the girl says. I mean, it's not like we can just cut it off you with scissors or anything. She sounds entirely unconcerned. It's so unfair! I need to get out of this stuffy, sweltering steam bath as soon as possible. All I can do is clench my fist in impotent rage. But anyway, good work out there today, the girl continues. I'm Chiriko Osugi, by the way. You can just call me Chiri. She smiles as she introduces herself. I mean, I am pretty cheery after all. She breaks into a hearty guffaw. Oh my gosh. Oh, sure, I say. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, for sure. So, I guess you're not gonna be able to eat lunch in that getup, huh? Huh? God, that's right. What should I do? Don't sweat it. Just leave it to me. Huh? I'll eat both lunches myself. Chiri doesn't even wait for me to reply before reaching for my lunch. It'd be a shame to let it go to waste, she says. She makes it sound like leftover food is a bigger concern than my hunger. I can feel my appetite stirring all the more as she devours my meal with a satisfied grin on her face. A faint, pathetic gurgle rises from my belly. It's just a cheap little prepackaged box lunch, but right now it looks like a feast. The screenshots of this are incredible. Just with the hand over the mouth. I love it. So what's your name? Cherry asks. Her cheeks are still packed with rice. My name? Yeah. Oh, it's, As I struggle to think of an answer, my eyes alight on the piece of tamagoyaki clutched between Cherry's chopsticks. The yellow slab of lightly grilled egg wobbles to and fro. I can see the inside from the way it's been sliced. It looks somewhat undercooked. Come on, what's your name? Oh, right. Tama. It's Tama. Huh? You mean like the famous cat? Well, ain't that fitting? Cherry chortles and stuffs the piece of tamagoyaki into her mouth, then takes a big swig of iced tea. I am beyond jealous. I wish I could gorge myself on those lunch boxes until I'm full to bursting. Heck, even a cold glass of iced tea would be a lifesaver right now. I'm so thirsty. I'm starting to get all dizzy. Maybe I really am getting dehydrated. This isn't good. If I don't do something, I'm gonna pass out before the sales demo even starts. And then I remember something. The zipper down my back might be busted, but I can still take the head off, right? That way, I'd at least be able to eat and drink stuff. All right, I decide to grab the head in both hands and yank it upward, rock my head back and forth good and hard, or ask Chiri to assist me. Sorry, would you mind helping me pull my head off? Let's do an A. We're gonna grab it. I decide to grab the head in both hands and yank it upward with all my might. Back! Oh, come on. No matter how hard I pull, it won't come off. Ow. A dull pain throbs at the back of my head. Did I smack it against something at some point? Cherry flashes me a curious look. What are you doing? She asks. I thought maybe I could at least get the head off. I try pulling again, refusing to give up. That ain't gonna work. That thing's attached to the body. I slump forward in defeat, face planting on the tabletop. No! Most folks would have noticed that when they put it on, you know? Well, I didn't! The boss helped me get into it is the thing. Well, don't let it get you down, Cherry says. Here, drink some of this. She pulls a bottle with a straw from her bag and pours some of the tea into it. In a fever of thirst, I jam the plastic straw through the mascot costume's mouth. Thankfully, it reaches as far as my own. I suck for all I'm worth. I suck, and I suck, and I suck. My body rejoices as the moisture returns to it, like rain coming to the desert. And thus, I revive! Actually, it kind of does feel like I'm coming back to life. Oh, thank you so much. I am never going to forget this as long as I live. With tears welling up in my eyes, I clutch Cherry's hand in my fuzzy mitts. Hey, I'm not the kind of person to abandon someone in need, you know, she replies. An embarrassed grin crosses her face. How come you're carrying this bottle around with you anyway, I ask. Oh, that's because I make my own protein juice. Protein. In Japan, the word protein is frequently used to refer to a powdered health food supplement that contains vitamins and minerals, as well as a protein component. It is dissolved in milk or another liquid to create a drink. A protein diet typically involves drinking a glass of this in place of a meal. Drinking it in place of tea would assuredly lead to weight gain. Protein juice? Never heard of it. I heard that if you have protein juice for one of your 3 meals a day, you'll lose weight. Soya Max? Fiber guy? Okay. So yeah, I kind of need to keep it. Given Cherry's sort of, well, chubby frame, I don't think the protein's been working so great for her. I've been trying all sorts of stuff, but right now protein is totally the best thing for my diet. This stuff, though... Cherry casts her eyes at the samples of burning hammer on the table. This is great. Yes, this game is great. I love it. I love this game, like, every minute of it. It's like, totally bogus. Huh? Bogus? That's a surprise. Well, yeah, Cherry says. You've got to exercise if you want to burn body fat. The best way to burn fat is to engage in steady, low-intensity aerobic exercise. After roughly 20 minutes of such exercise, the body burns through its available blood sugar, and the brain sends signals to have fat brought into the bloodstream. This is how fat is burned. Anaerobic exercise, which leaves you panting and breathless, is not effective. She smacks herself on the flabby arm. This was a comically overweight woman in 2008. Oh, those silly Japanese. I mean, there's no way you're gonna lose weight by taking in more calories. Huh? Didn't she say she was drinking protein juice to lose weight? I keep that thought to myself. But this is just funny to play as an American. I mean, that'd be as ridiculous as all-you-can-eat Kobe beef, she adds. She shakes her head, seriously. I'm not sure about using all-you-can-eat anything as an example in a discussion about weight loss, but again, I keep the thought to myself. But hey, a job's a job, Cherry says after a moment, perking up again. They tell me to sell this junk, I'll sell it. A sudden wailing comes from the other side of the door. Please, just give me time. I swear I'll get it back to you. What the heck? Cherry says. Is that the boss? I nod. That's definitely Mr. Yanagishita's voice. He's the guy who hired me. Sidling up alongside Cherry, I very quietly open the door and take a peek inside. Mr. Yanagishita is down on his hands and knees, begging, while 2 uncouth-looking men glower at him. Just a little more time, that's all I ask, he pleads. Once I sell this stuff, I can pay you back. I see a tiny bottle of burning hammer in his hand. Just a little more, mimics the middle-aged fellow. I just gotta sell this? We've heard enough of that out of you. Yeah, the younger guy sneers. We ain't giving you any more time, so quit asking. But I really just need a little longer this time. Please, you gotta believe me. They had way too much fun with the pictures. Oh my gosh, the stealthiness. From the look of things, Mr. Yanagishita is dealing with some loan sharks. Though it seems obvious that this term refers to toothy predators of the deep, the word shark in this case actually has its origins in an older Germanic word meaning parasite, or someone who preys on others. The same word gave rise to the terms pool shark and card shark. In the case of loan sharks, though, the initial mental image seems quite appropriate. And the 2 thugs are clearly in no mood for his continued groveling. Cherry and I exchange a glance. It's probably best if we don't go out there right now. And now I'm really worried. Am I actually going to get paid for this gig? As I'm pondering that, one of the men grabs Yanagishita by the nape of the neck and drags him to his feet. Come with us, pal. We'll take you someplace you can, work off your debts. Say what? Mr. Yanagishita wails. The two men drag him away. I have a feeling this isn't going to end well. Guess he's gone then, Cheery says. She's already started to pack up her things. Wait, what are you doing? I ask. Going home. Not much point sticking around. Going home? I mean, the demo sure ain't happening now. Anyhow, it was nice working with you. See ya. Moments later, Cheery is out the door. Now what do I do? I've been left here all by myself. More or less at a total loss. Bad end! Shift's over. Our poor feline friend isn't going to get paid now that those debt collectors showed up and dragged her boss away. If a certain someone hadn't told the thugs how to get to the Nokane building, they probably wouldn't have caught Yanagishita. The right decision happens at 11:15, but who has to make it? We'll have to find out. Bye, Tama. We'll save you. I'm sure we will. That's the end of Tama's story for now. But, by popular demand, it's time for Minorikawa. The Super Cub 90 raced down Route 246 towards Shibuya. Super Cub 90, a motorcycle produced by Honda with an 85cc engine displacement, a common sight around town, often used by newspaper and postal delivery workers. Many owners are big enthusiasts, sometimes even swapping out parts such as the handlebars or mufflers, giving the body a repaint, resulting in fashionable bikes that don't even look like Super Clubs at first glance. Oh my, the speedometer remained at a steady 60 kph. Pumping the gas harder was no use. This was as fast as the bike would go. Minorikawa shouted as he sped along. Damn it! I am not letting you die! He jerked the handlebars and blew past a truck on the inside. The driver scowled at him as he shot by. You maniac! You're trying to get yourself killed! Just the opposite! Minorikawa shouted back. I'm saving lives! The stoplight ahead turned red, cutting him off at the intersection. Oh, come on! He had no choice but to slam on the brakes, but his agitation boiled over as he waited for the signal to change again. How long's this thing gonna stay red? Hurry up already! He brought the bike right up to the very edge of the line, keeping the engine revved like a dragster, ready to peel out. Not on time in my not in my dictionary! The light turned red. The Minorikawa's own light turned green at last. He hit the accelerator as hard as he could. His engine died with a sputter. Huh? Oh, come on. What the hell? Car horns blared angrily behind him. In a fury, he pulled his bike over to the side of the road. No matter what he did, the engine refused to turn over. Was the problem with the spark plug? Or maybe the battery? Whatever it was, he didn't have time to figure it out now. With tears in his eyes, he left the bike, his companion of 10 years, abandoned on the roadside. He was about to break into a run when he saw a taxi dead ahead letting out a passenger. He hurried to hop into the cab. Just head for Shibuya Station. I'll let you know exactly where once we get closer. The taxi driver nodded coolly. Of course, sir. 10 minutes! I need you to get me there in 10 minutes! The driver grimaced. I'm afraid getting there in 10 minutes is a bit... 15 then! Sir, that's still... Look, that's all the time I can afford. Assuming traffic conditions cooperate, sir, then maybe. I can't make any promises. Minorikawa looked at the driver's ID photo above the fare meter. His name was Hachiro Kimizuka. He was a middle-aged fellow. Looked a little rough around the edges. Mr. Kimizuka, I chose you for this. You can do it. Chose me? Sir, I'm pretty certain we met by chance. Okay, sure. I suppose you could phrase it that way. Anyhow, can we get going? Right, Kimizuka said with a faint sigh. I'll see what I can do. The taxi pulled away at a decent clip. Minorikawa's frantic journey had started 20 minutes earlier. He had been at home, working on an interview piece. Ah, that phone. 2008, baby. He clucked his tongue in annoyance as the ringing phone broke his train of thought. Why did someone always call right when the words were flowing? If he didn't keep getting interrupted, he probably could wrap this piece up in no time. Be quiet! He pointed at the telephone as he yelled, I'm writing here! But his shouting did nothing to silence the ringing. He didn't have much choice but to pick up. Minorikawa speaking. There was no response. Hello? He hesitated, ready to hang up. Was this a prank call? It's me. It's Toyama. It was Teru Toyama, the president of Heaven Publishing, a publishing company that puts out both hard-hitting nonfiction books and tabloid-style scandal rags. The invincible journalist, penned by company president Toyama himself, was a candidate for the Japan Nonfiction Prize. Oh, what do you want? If this is about work, I'm already booked pretty full. Oh my gosh, look at that. What a nightmare of a desk. He'd taken work from Heaven Publishing on several occasions, but the pay was hardly competitive. Lately, he'd been turning them down a lot, so he hadn't heard from Toyama in a while. No, this isn't work-related. Then what do you want? I'm kind of pressed for time here, working on some copy. Minorikawa was in no mood to beat around the bush. It seemed like every conversation he had with Toyama went like this. Ah, you're busy. That's good. Busy's good when you're a freelancer. Toyama sounded unusually sympathetic. Minorikawa found it off-putting. I hear sales have been good on your end, he said cautiously, with this month's 4-Star General Gossip and all. 4-Star General Gossip was a monthly magazine, Heaven Publishing's flagship publication. 4-Star General Gossip, a magazine focusing on the private lives of celebrities and politicians. Most of the articles found in its pages are random nonsense, but 1 out of every 100 or so contains an actual major scoop, making it difficult outlet to ignore. It had a small circulation and for the most part flew under the radar, but once in a while they'd land some big scoop and sell like crazy. This month's edition had come with a free scratch card, a gimmick that had moved 100,000 copies with ease. 5 winning symbols in a row wins 100,000 yen, was it? Minorikawa asked. A weak, moist sound came through the receiver. Baffled, Minorikawa listened more closely. Came again. Then again. It kind of sounded like sobbing. Mr. Toyama, are you crying? There was another soft sob, and then yet another. What's going on? Where are you? Minorikawa asked. At the office, Toyama managed. He let out another mewling whimper. What's the matter? It's nothing. Well, it's gotta be something. Come on, what is it? Toyama gave no reply. Mr. Toyama, you still there? Silence. What is it? What happened? Look, doesn't tell me anything. What the hell is going on? Toyama squeaked out a drawn-out whine. Okay, I'm sick of this. I'm hanging up now. Minorikawa was about to break the connection when he heard Toyama murmur. The only thing I can do now is die. The taxi lurched to a sudden stop as the driver slammed on the brakes. Minorikawa pitched forward, his face smacking against the back of the seat in front of him. Yeah, I'm not crying, you're crying. Kimizuka stuck his head out the window. Careful, buddy, he shouted at someone in the street ahead. You're going to get yourself killed. Oh no! Minorikawa blinked the stars from his eyes and saw a man, that man, moving alongside the cab. The guy grabbed onto the handle of the back door. Please! I need you to let me have this cab! No way, Minorikawa snapped. Just who did this guy think he was? Please, I'm begging you here! Look, I'm in a hurry, pal. Get your own cab. I know how ridiculous this must sound, but please, this is really urgent. Urgent? Yes, it's a matter of life or death. Please! The guy did look pretty desperate. Look, I'm sorry, but I'm dealing with something urgent here, too. Let me ride with you. I'll pay for the whole fare. My entire future's on the line here. The guy sure was persistent. Maybe he was telling the truth. But Minorikawa had problems of his own. Sorry, buddy. It's life or death on my end, too. I gotta look after me and mine. Right. So sorry to trouble you. Finally, the guy gave up and shuffled away. Guess it couldn't have been that much of a life-ending crisis after all. Minorikawa checked his wristwatch. Damn it! That just cost us 5 minutes! I'll try to make up to it, sir, the driver called back. The taxi lurched into motion, the engine quickly revving up to speed. Once inside the building, he avoided the elevator in favor of rushing up the stairs. Heaven Publishing rented out the 3rd and 4th floors. In all likelihood, Toyama would be at the editing department of 4-star General Gossip on the 4th floor. When he got there, however, the door was locked. Mr. Toyama! Hey! Mr. Toyama! He shouted and banged, but there was no reply. Something was seriously wrong. Minorikawa took a deep breath and then kicked the door in. Whoa! The sight as he stepped into the office filled him with horror. Minorikawa clutched the sides of his head. I'm too late! Oh no! Oh no! If only I'd gotten here a little sooner. Okay. Well, that was a particularly dark ending. Just 5 minutes. Minorikawa rushed to Heaven Publishing as fast as he could, but he didn't get there in time to save Toyama-san. And, sad to say, it really was all Kano's fault. Why does Kano want a taxi so badly? Check his 1110 timestamp, and the situation might become clearer. Well, I think it's time for some Kano, guys. Is it Kano time? It's Kano time. He's got a Kano all over those guys. Alright, so we have Tama and Kano, and Minorikawa are finished, so Kano it is. As he wandered through the back alleys, Kano gritted his teeth. Going after the guy on the bike had been a bad judgment call. By the time he got back up onto the pedestrian overpass, the man who'd thrown the attaché case was almost out of sight. Kano prided himself on being fleet of foot, but he knew even he would never catch the guy before he disappeared. He followed the culprit as far as the alleys, but there he'd lost him completely. All he could do now was hope one of his colleagues caught the man on the motorcycle. Kuze's voice crackled through the earpiece. Mobile Command Center calling all units. The suspect on the motorcycle has handed off the case to an accomplice in Miyashita Park, another foreigner. For real? Kano muttered. One thing immediately struck him as strange. Why hand the case off to someone else at all? Why not just escape on the bike? The man with the motorcycle dumped the bike and fled on foot. We've retrieved the bike and run the plate, and we've determined it was a stolen vehicle. A stolen vehicle. The Advanced Police Communication System is carefully maintained. By using the digital wireless systems in their patrol cars, officers are able to directly access the station's computer network, allowing them to quickly check to see if an individual is on the wanted list or if a vehicle is stolen. We still don't have enough details to positively ID the suspect. The suspect, now carrying the attaché case, is heading through Dogenzaka, also on foot. We've got him under observation. Dogenzaka, huh? That wasn't too far from where Kano was now. It looks like we're dealing with a foreign crime syndicate that's familiar with Shibuya. All units, head to Dogenzaka. But do not, I repeat, do not attempt to apprehend the suspect with the case. Let's see where he goes. Kano nodded to himself without knowing more about the crook's MO. Letting this guy go for now was probably the only right call. I just want you all to know one last thing. Kuze's tone grew more solemn. Whatever happens, I know I can count on each and every one of you. Don't disappoint me. Over and out. Kano had heard the unsettling feeling that the message had been meant for him. Right. It's now or never. The sudden appearance of this syndicate and its bizarre actions were rapidly moving things beyond the jurisdiction of both the MPD and the local police. Mustering his resolve, Kano headed for Dogenzaka. Kano pulled his cell phone out of his pocket. It was Rumi calling. She knew full well he wasn't supposed to take private calls while he was working a case. Maybe it was an emergency? He decided to pick up. Rumi? I'm sorry, are you in the middle of something right now? Kinda. Is this an emergency? Well, yeah. So, I'm in Shibuya right now, and... Shibuya? Why did she have to be in Shibuya now, of all times? So, my father came down from Nagano all of a sudden? What? Rumi's father, Shizuo, had been staunchly opposed to the two of them getting married. Kano had visited his home many times, but the man had never even deigned to meet him. Yeah, he told me to tell you he wants to meet with you. What? Now? Kano blurted the words out with more alarm than he'd intended. I told him you were busy working, but he said he'd wait. This can't be happening! Kano whimpered to himself. I'm sorry, I know he can be demanding. That's not the issue. Her dad offering to wait made it harder for him to refuse. All right, Kano said, but I'll have to call you back later, okay? I really am sorry. I'll be at a cafe called Le Trek. It's by the train station. Rumi hung up. For a long moment, Kano stood in a daze, staring at his phone, as if keeping up with the case wasn't stressful enough. At last, he stumbled into motion, but even as he scoured Dogenzaka for any sign of the criminal, his mind remained fixed on the meeting with Rumi's dad. There was no way of knowing when he'd be done with his casework today. But could he really pass up on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get her father's approval for her hand in marriage? Odds are that this will not be the only once-in-a-lifetime experience Detective Kano winds up having today. Thanks, narrator. Maybe he could slip away for just a bit. There were plenty of detectives still tailing the suspects. Taking 15 minutes or so to meet with Shizuo wouldn't be such a big deal, would it? Right, this is my big chance. No, right. So I'm thinking this is my big chance is what gets him to try to get the cab. So let's say no right now, not right now. No, right now I've got a job to focus on. Kano shook his head to clear out the foolish impulses. What the hell had he been thinking? A girl's life was on the line. Marrying Rumi was more important to him than anything, but now wasn't the time. Besides, now that he thought about it, running out on a critical investigation to meet with the old man probably wasn't going to score him any points. Rumi's dad didn't strike him as someone who'd approve of shirking one's responsibilities. Kano would just have to wrap up this kidnapping case a little ahead of schedule, then he could have a proper sit-down with Shizuo. As he considered his plan, he caught sight of the man with the attaché case walking by. There he is. That's the guy who shot us in a different timeline. Further up along Dogenzaka, in the direction the perp was heading, was where Yamate Dori joined Route 246. Maybe the guy was planning to meet up with a getaway car. No, wait, hold on. If that were the plan, why would the gang have ditched the motorcycle earlier? Kano started tailing the man, racking his brain all the while. The suspect turned down a narrow side road. He wasn't heading toward Yamate Dori or Route 246 at all, but back toward Shibuya Station. What in the world was going on? It was starting to feel like the crooks were just messing with the investigation team. Kano radioed Kuze on the wireless. The police wireless system is digital, in order to make transmissions more difficult to intercept. There are several different channels available, including the basic local channel, a common channel for contacting over the nearby patrol cars, channels assigned to specific precincts, action update channels for riot squads, and so on. There is also a separate channel specifically for kidnapping cases, not on the standard wavelengths. Sir, I don't think there's any point in seeing where this guy leads us anymore. That's not your call to make. Keep watching him. Sir, this is a waste of time. That girl might be in danger if... Kano's argument was cut short as he saw the man hand off the attaché case to yet another foreigner. Again? How many times were these criminals going to pull this trick? The detectives broke into two groups to follow both of the men. Kano followed the man with the attaché case, who eventually led him back to the area around Shibuya Station. Rumi and Shizuo should be waiting at a nearby cafe right now. Kano tried to remember the name. That's right, it was called Le Trek, the name of the cafe where college student Ryoko Kakinuma works as a waitress. Named after 19th century French painter Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, he created numerous works including many posters, book illustrations, and book covers, which are highly regarded in the art world. He kept his eye out for a place by that name as he tailed the target. Before long, he did spot the cafe. Its large plate glass window offered a view of the cozy interior. The sign out front read La Trek. Looked like this was the place. The man with the case was at the intersection, waiting for the light to change. Kano took the opportunity to peer inside. He spotted Rumi right away. She was facing away from him. So the man seated across from her must be her father. Kano realized he'd never even seen a picture of him. Shizuo grew organic produce up in Nagano nowadays, but until 2 years ago, he'd been a detective with the Investigation Division, MPD Investigative Division, responsible for handling crimes such as murder, kidnapping, and arson that take place within the Tokyo metropolis. Truly exceptional officers are assigned to this division. They are regularly dispatched to various regional task forces to aid in investigations, where their talents and experience often prove critical. The position of section chief is traditionally given only to dedicated personnel well versed with crime scenes and organizational administration. Rumi looked up to her father for his distinguished police career and always spoke quite highly of him. Kano had figured that if he became a policeman, Rumi might appreciate that. It was this simple impulse that had led him to join the force. He'd also figured that public servants could stay afloat even in times of recession, and that his physical training would serve him well in such a line of work. Once he was a policeman, he thought he could approach Shizuo with his head held high and ask for his blessing in marrying his daughter. But after Rumi had graduated from university, Shizuo had up and retired from police work. Even Rumi didn't know why he'd made the decision. Kano had traveled to Nagano many times to ask Shizuo for permission to marry her, but the only response he ever got was, "I'm not giving away my daughter to any cop." Kano had never even gotten past the intercom before her father turned him away. Years on the force had nearly made Kano lose sight of what had driven him to become a policeman in the first place. And now, the chance to meet Shizuo face-to-face had finally come. He peered intently into the cafe. Across from Rumi sat an older man with a grim expression. Just who was this hard-faced fellow? It took a lot to rattle Kano, but the guy looked scary. Could this really be his sweet little Rumi's father? The prospect of meeting with him later filled Kano with sudden dread. The man went into the JR Shibuya station and stood before the ticket machine. It looked like he was planning on boarding a train. A scene from a popular movie about a kidnapping sprang into Kano's mind, where the crook had made off with the ransom money after it was tossed out the window of a train. What if this guy managed to get outside the dragnet and pull a stunt like that? It looks like the suspect is going to board a train, Kano informed Kuze over the wireless. Make sure you stay on his tail. Apparently, Kuze still wanted to string the perp along for a bit. We've got the lizards ready to pursue. Lizards. Japanese police lingo for motorcycle squads deployed to pursue suspects in urban settings. We'll re-establish our dragnet around whatever station he gets off at. The man purchased a ticket from the machine and passed through the gate. There was no way to tell what station he'd bought a ticket for, but it looked like he was heading clockwise along the Yamanote line loop. Kano used his prepaid card and made his way through the ticket gate as well. Offers do not actually get free rides on public transportation simply by flashing their badges, as is frequently depicted in TV shows and films. Doing so might risk alerting the suspect. For this reason, prepaid cards are provided ahead of time. An announcement chime signaled the imminent arrival of a train up on the platform. The man made his way up the stairs, looking calm and composed. He showed no sign of checking for pursuers. Kano hurried after him. The man stopped at the very edge of the platform to await the train. Not ideal. There was no way for Kano to get close without sticking out like a sore thumb. The train glided up to the platform. The man gave a quick look around as he stepped aboard. Kano followed. Trains on the Yamanote line didn't stop for long, and soon they were on their way. Glancing around, Kano noticed other MPD investigators who had slipped aboard the train as well. The suspect stood behind the driver's compartment, staring contemplatively at the scenery outside. The man's composure only served to rattle Kano more. A man in a gaudy necktie walked past Kano, talking on his cell phone. Yes, everything's going fine on this end, he said. There's no need to worry. In his other hand, he carried the same sort of attaché case as the man they were tailing. He headed right toward the driver's compartment and stood next to the suspect. Well, now that's not suspicious. Kano leaned his head subtly, straining to make out what he could of the phone conversation at the other end of the car. Yes, of course. 225 pages, all fully proofread. 225. Article 225 of the Penal Code of Japan details kidnapping for profit and kidnapping for ransom. Accordingly, 225 is police shorthand for kidnapping. That was police jargon for kidnapping, so said the note just now. Was this guy in cahoots with the kidnapper? Maybe the criminals had planned an attaché case swap. Kano watched the newcomer like a hawk. But rather than making contact with the suspect, the man turned around and strolled back the way he'd come. He hadn't done anything suspicious at all. Yes, right. Understood. Kano stole a glimpse of the man's face as he passed. He stopped and looked at Kano, seemingly aware he was being watched. Kano decided to stare him down or look away. Let's stare him down. Kano decided to stare him down. Ah, my apologies, the man said. He shut his phone with a click. I know it's rather rude to talk on one's cell phone when you're on a train. That's just common decency. The man affected a smile and headed back to the car from which he'd come. Interesting. Sheesh. Guess I overreacted. You gotta stop staring at everyone. What the heck? An oddly dressed passenger murmured into Kano's ear. Blend into your surroundings more. Sasayama, when'd you get here? What? His partner had somehow found time to change his disguise. The steely expression on his face was at odds with his anime nerd get-up. Kano had seen Sasayama disguise himself as plenty of things throughout the years. Chef, magician, samurai, and an astronaut, to name a few, but this was a new extreme, even for him. It's quite rare for Sasayama to actually wear a suit. On the rare occasions when he does, and he's walking the halls of his home precinct, he frequently goes unrecognized. Here are some of Sasayama's costume designs from his evidence notebook. Santa is a must for Christmas. Stakeouts with a smile. Keep presents in bag to calm down children in case of emergency. So he's like Larry Butts. He's like Santa and all that. Use this for train stakeouts. Don't forget awkward smile. Filled with posters and figurines. Prized possession clutched to chest. Point is to draw attention in crowded train cars. Bag of merch. Going too far. So that's the one he's wearing right now. I love it. Tragic expression. Disguise for stakeouts at dockhouse warehouses. Sunglasses. Suit and posture amplify wild animal side. Let coworkers know beforehand so as not to be mistaken for the real thing. So it's like a Yakuza disguise. I love it. Arrest crooks while practicing discipline. Might help to stop funeral robbers. Handcuffs of sleeve. And then, for nighttime stakeouts, hardcore material emphasizes bulginess in final version. Plenty of exposure. What is this, a Chad costume? Oh no, I hate it. Oh, that's terrible. When he first joined the force, Kano had found Sasayama's costuming antics amusing, wondering where he managed to find his outfits. But lately, his quirk had become tedious. You like the ocean? Huh? Never mind. Sasayama pulled a small bottle from his breast pocket. Oh no! It's the burning hammer! Drink this while you can. Guessing you haven't eaten. Huh? What's this? The least I could do. He handed Kano the bottle, and slipped away into the next compartment. He pulled an all-niner and hadn't eaten, so he was glad to have something. He took a sip. Whatever this was, it was bland. It almost didn't taste like anything. Just like what Sasayama... Just what had Sasayama given him? Ah, what the heck. Anything's better than nothing. He brought the bottle to his lips and chugged the contents down. He suddenly got a massive head rush. He felt a heat. A heat, like a burning that spread from his insides throughout his whole body. No, that wasn't right. It was an ache. It was a ferocious ache. The negative is great. A burning that spread from his insides to his fingertips. And there was pain. A numbing that spread from his insides all the way down to his toes. Burning, aching, hurting, burning, aching, hurting, burning, aching, hurting, twitchy, itchy, dizzy, sleepy, chilly, willy-nilly. This was not good. This was not super duper not good. He broke into a cold sweat, his forehead drenched, his body damp and clammy all over. He felt his grip on consciousness slipping. Sasayama, what the hell did you do to me? With bleary eyes, he squinted to read the writing on the bottle. After a scant few letters, Kano blacked out. Bad end. The least he could do. Kano blacked out after drinking an unknown substance without checking to see what it was. What he drank, it turns out, was a free sample of something called Burning Hammer. But don't blame Sasayama. He was just passing along the sample he got from someone in a mascot costume. Okay. That's great. Alright, I think we're going to end it there for tonight, and we'll pick it back up next week. But, loving this again. This is great. This is amazing. And we will continue with the story of our 5 protagonists next time. So, see you then.